There is something about the night, Lord, when the world finally grows quiet and the weight of the day can no longer be held back by noise. That's when I feel it most. The ache I tried to bury beneath routines, the questions I smiled past during the day, the tightness in my chest that I disguised as strength. Now it all rises to the surface, and I have nowhere else to turn. So I come to you, not with polished words or perfect posture, but with trembling breath and eyes too tired to pretend. You have always been the one who meets me in the silence. You wait without pressure. You invite without shame. You speak without raising your voice. Yet somehow your whisper carries more weight than the loudest fear inside me. And so I listen. Not just with my ears, but with my soul. I listen for that still small sound that tells me I'm not forgotten, not lost, not beyond repair. I listen for you because my spirit knows your voice, even when my mind is cluttered with doubt. I've carried too much again. I see it now. I thought I could hold it all. The expectations, the disappointments, the grief. I didn't give enough space to breathe. I tried to be okay before I came to you, as if you didn't already see it all, as if you weren't already standing in the middle of my mess, waiting for me to look up. But I'm here now, not whole, but honest, not fearless, but willing, not fixed, but finally surrendered. I lay down the pressure to have the right words. I lay down the fear that I won't be heard. I lay down the guilt for needing help again. You never asked me to be enough on my own. You asked me to come, and so I do. Empty-handed, heart-heavy, soul-thirsty. I come not because I've earned the right to be here, but because you made a place for me anyway. A place at the table, a place in your arms, a place in the stillness where my striving ends. Let me remember what that feels like, to be fully known and still welcomed, to be fully seen and still chosen, to be completely vulnerable and still safe. This is the kind of love that makes me weep without knowing why. This is the kind of peace that doesn't wait for the storm to pass. It just enters the boat and speaks. Peace, be still, not just to the waves, but to me. Sick to me now, Lord. Not with explanations, but with presence. Not with logic, but with love. I don't need answers as much as I need you. And you are here, closer than my breath, nearer than the ache in my chest, more faithful than the ground beneath me. I can feel it now, the release, like chains slipping quietly from my soul, like burdens finally losing their grip. Like I've been holding my breath all day, and now at last, I can exhale. I release what I was never meant to carry, the regret I've worn like a second skin, the fear that's crouched behind every decision, the voice of failure that keeps rewriting my name. I lay it all at your feet, and not just in theory, but in truth. I give it to you. The things I'm afraid to say out loud, the memories I've labeled too late, the questions I thought disqualified me from faith. You take them all. You don't flinch. You don't withdraw. You draw near. And the closer you come, the more I see myself right. Not as broken beyond use, but as beloved beyond measure. Not as someone who ruined it, but as someone you're restoring. Not as an afterthought, but as a child you've never stopped pursuing. Your love is not delicate. It's not moved by my inconsistency. It's not shaken by my doubt. It is fierce, and it is tender, and it is here. I feel it wrap around me like a blanket I forgot I needed, not just covering my skin, but warming my bones. Tonight, Lord, I don't ask for clarity. I ask for communion. I don't need to know how everything will work out. I just want to know you're with me in the waiting, that you won't let go, that you won't grow tired of my returning, that you are as patient with me as you've always been with humanity. You saw every failure from the beginning, And still you chose the cross. Still you chose love. Still you choose me. Even now, I'm tired of pretending I'm fine. I'm tired of moving through life numb. I'm tired of carrying faith like a performance instead of a relationship. I want to know you, not just about you, not just through sermons or songs, but in the secret place, in the stillness, in the raw, quiet places where it's just me and you. And that's enough. Let me feel again. Let me weep if I need to. Let the tears fall freely, not as signs of weakness, but of healing. Let the walls come down. Let the mask crack open. Let the parts of me I buried rise to the surface to meet the light of your love. You are not disappointed in my fragility. You delight in my dependence. You rejoice when I return, even if it's messy, even if it's late, even if I still have questions. I've spent so long trying to bring you my best, but maybe tonight you're just asking for my real. So here it is, all of it, nothing held back, no script, no filter, no performance, just me, just you, just this breath, just this sacred moment in the dark where light is beginning to rise. You have always been the stillness I needed, even when I didn't know how to reach for you. In moments when my breath was short and my thoughts ran wild, you remained the calm center. Not a voice of demand, but a whisper of grace. You've never forced yourself into my life, but you've always been present. Even in the overlooked details, even in the tears I hid from everyone, even in the laughter that didn't reach my eyes, you were there, Lord. And now, with nothing left to filter, I let the weight fall off. The weight of trying to hold up an image, the weight of pretending I'm further along than I am, the weight of hiding my need for comfort, because somewhere along the way, I believed you only meet the strong. But you've never asked for strength. You asked for surrender. So here I am, raw, real, aching in places I can't name, but still reaching for you. Because even now I know you'll take me as I am, not as I should be, not as I want to be, not as others expect me to be, but as I am in this breath, tired, maybe, afraid, perhaps, but honest. And you delight in honesty. You sit with the broken-hearted. You draw near to the weary. You make your home in the places others run from. And because of that, I don't have to run anymore. Let me rest in the truth that I am already loved, before the breakthrough, before the healing, before the clarity. I am already loved, not for my usefulness, not for my potential, not for what I bring to the table, but simply because I am yours. You formed me with intention. You breathed purpose into my lungs before I ever spoke a word, and you have never once regretted making me. When I forget that, remind me. When I lose myself to noise, call me back to the quiet. When I reach for approval from others, center me in the knowledge that I already have yours. Your delight in me isn't based on performance. It's based on presence. And you are here, which means I'm safe to cry, safe to exhale, safe to stop pretending, safe to lay every question at your feet. Why did it happen that way? Why did they leave? Why didn't the prayer get answered how I hoped? Why did I feel abandoned when you promised you'd never leave? You're not afraid of those questions. You're not offended by doubt. You hold it all, my confusion, my disappointment, my heartbreak, and you hold me too, with tenderness, with patience, with a kindness that silences shame and speaks to my soul. I'm still here. You haven't walked away, even when I did, even when I stopped praying, even when I filled the silence with anything I could find to distract me. You stayed, you waited, and not in frustration, but in love. You wait like a father who knows the wayward child will find their way home. You wait like a friend who keeps the porch light on. You wait with open arms, not folded arms. And when I return, there is no punishment. There is only joy, the kind of joy that weeps at reunion, the kind of joy that runs to meet me, even while I'm still far off. Tonight, I hear your footsteps, not behind me, in anger, but before me in welcome. You're not demanding explanations. You're inviting communion. You don't require apologies before acceptance. You've already made space at the table. And here, in this place of peace, I remember who I am, not because of what I feel, but because of who you are. You name me beloved. You name me child. You name me whole, even before I see the evidence. You speak identity over me, when all I can hear are accusations. Let your voice be louder, Lord, louder than the guilt, louder than the old stories, louder than the past that still tries to write my name. You've already written a new one, a name of mercy, a name of grace, a name rooted in eternity, not in my mistakes. You're not counting my failures. You're counting the hairs on my head. You're not tracking how far I've wandered. You're watching for the moment I turn back. And I have turned back, not in shame, but in hope, not to beg for crumbs, but to receive a feast I didn't know was waiting. You've been preparing it all along, not because I earned it, but because you love to restore. You love to redeem. You love to give beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, praise for heaviness. So I let the heaviness go, slowly, softly, like a stone lowered from my hands. I release the need to carry what you already died to take. I release the need to prove my worth. I release the timeline I tried to control. I release the fear that kept me from resting. And I rest, not because everything is resolved, not because the storm is gone, but because you are in the boat, because you are the anchor, because your presence is my answer, even when the questions remain. Breathe into me again, Lord. Breathe peace into my mind, still racing from the day. Breathe calm into my body, still tense from too much holding in. Breathe trust into my soul, still unsure of what's next. Let me fall asleep in the arms of peace. Let my dreams be wrapped in light. Let my breathing slow to match the rhythm of heaven. No striving, no panic, no fear, just. And if I wake in the middle of the night, let me remember this moment, this quiet, this truth, that I am not alone, that I am not too much, that I am not behind, that I am not forgotten. I am seen, I am known, I am held, and most of all, I am loved. You are the steady breath in the silence, the voice that speaks when all others have faded. I sit here with you unafraid of the quiet, because the quiet is where you dwell. Not in chaos, not in applause, but in stillness, in the sacred hush, where eternity touches time. I bring you everything tonight. The doubts I dressed as strength, the tears I swallowed before they could fall, the questions I didn't dare speak aloud because I feared they would echo back unanswered. But you hear them anyway. You hear the ones I've never said, the ones I tucked behind smiles, the ones I buried beneath busyness. You hear it all, and you still stay. You don't leave when my faith wavers. You don't flinch when my trust trembles. You draw nearer still, not because I am strong, but because you are. Not because I've earned it, but because you've already given everything. So I lean into you now, not with understanding, but with surrender. I lean with the weight of everything I've carried, the disappointment that lingers like a shadow, the fear of failing again, the exhaustion that doesn't go away with sleep. I bring it all, not polished, not wrapped in prayerful poetry, just raw, just real, just open. You are the one who meets me in the middle of unanswered prayers, in the middle of waiting, in the middle of breaking and rebuilding. You are the God of the middle. And here in this moment, in this breath, I realize that's enough. You are not waiting for me to cross the finish line. You are not watching from a distance. You are in the dust with me, in the long roads, in the wandering, in the in-between. And because you are there, even the middle is holy. Let me not rush this place. Let me not wish away what you are forming in the silence. You do some of your deepest work in unseen spaces, in hidden ground, in the soil of surrender. So tonight I lay down my shovel. I stop digging for reasons. I stop striving for control. I rest my hands and open them to receive. Let me receive again the truth that I am loved, not conditionally, not temporarily, but completely. Let me receive grace, not as a reward, but as the rhythm of our relationship. Let me receive rest, not because I've earned it, but because you've called me into it. You are the shepherd of the restless, and I am your sheep, wandering, sometimes, but always yours. Lead me by still waters, restore the places in me that feel dry, wash away the fear that clings like dust to my bones. You anoint my head with oil, even when I feel undeserving. You fill my cup, even when my hands are shaking. And you remind me, surely goodness and mercy are not just ideas, they are following me. Even now, even here, I am not abandoned. Not because I feel it, but because you said it, and you are not a man that you should lie. Your promises do not bend beneath pressure. They stand, unshaken, unmoved. Let that be the ground I rest on tonight, not shifting feelings, but unshakable truth. The kind that holds me when nothing else does. The kind that carries me when my feet give out. The kind that whispers peace into every anxious corner of my mind. I silence the voices now, not just the ones around me, but the ones within. The inner critic that says I haven't done enough. The echo of past wounds that calls me unworthy. The fear that says I won't make it through. Let your voice rise above them all. Let it speak gently but clearly. You are mine. You are not alone. I am here. I don't need a vision tonight. I don't need a miracle. I just need to know that you are in the room. And I do. I feel you in the pause between thoughts. I feel you in the breath that slows. I feel you in the way my shoulders begin to drop, as if some invisible weight has finally been lifted. And maybe it has. Maybe you're lifting things I didn't know how to name. Maybe you're softening places I had forgotten were hard. Maybe you're healing wounds that no one ever saw. You are always working in silence, in stillness, in surrender. So I surrender again. Even if I just surrendered yesterday, even if I'll need to surrender again tomorrow. You are not counting my restarts. You are simply inviting me home. And here I am, not rushing, not resisting, just returning. Return to me, you say, and I will return to you. And you do. Every time. Every night. Every moment my heart says, I miss you. You're already near. Closer than my breath. Closer than my own thoughts. Closer than the ache I couldn't explain. You are here. And where you are, fear can no longer reign. Guilt no longer gets the final word. Shame no longer writes the story. You are the author, and you are not done writing. So I won't close the book. I won't stop believing for restoration. I won't stop looking for beauty, even in the ashes, even in the long nights, even in the wilderness. Because this is the same God who brings water from rocks, manna from heaven, and joy from morning. So let the joy come, not as a flash, but as a gentle tide, slowly rising in the corners of my soul. Let it wash over the places I thought joy had left. Let it breathe into my chest until I can smile again. Not because everything is perfect, but because I know I'm not alone in it. That is enough, more than enough. There is no moment you have missed, no tear you haven't seen, no cry that hasn't reached you. You have walked with me through nights I thought I faced alone. You have surrounded my silence with presence, not pressure. You waited at the door of my heart without pounding, only knocking softly again and again. Your gentleness has always undone me more than power. Your quiet has always spoken louder than the world's noise. And tonight in this hush, I feel the nearness I forgot was mine. Not because I finally did something right, not because I managed to pray long enough or loud enough, but because you never left, because you never required perfection, only permission. And when I gave you space, you filled it with peace. So here now I breathe, slowly, deliberately, sacredly. And with every breath I let go of what I thought I had to prove, of what I thought I had to protect, of the image I tried so hard to keep intact. It's crumbled too many times. And in the rubble I finally found grace. Not because you want me broken, but because you rebuild with better hands than mine. You are the architect of what I thought was wasted. You are the restorer of what I buried in disappointment. You are the voice that never stops calling me back, not with guilt but with mercy, not with shame but with promise. And the more I hear you, the more I remember who I am. Not defined by failure, not imprisoned by the past, not limited by what others couldn't see in me, but defined by you, loved by you, chosen, still, even after everything. Let me settle into that tonight. Let it wrap around me like a covering, like warmth against cold thoughts. Let it fill the cracks that anxiety leaves behind. Let it silence the echo of unworthiness that sometimes rises without warning. You don't just tolerate me, Lord, you cherish me. You say, I am your own, and when you say it, every other voice loses its power. So I lay my head down not on a pillow, but on a promise. The promise that you are with me, that you go before me, that you surround me behind and beside. And even when I close my eyes, you do not sleep. You watch over me. You sing over me. You defend what I don't even know is under attack. And you do it not out of obligation, but because that is who you are. Faithful, good, tender, strong, present, always. Let those names be the anchor I rest upon. Let them be louder than my history. Let them rise above the ache I carry from what didn't work out. Let them reach deeper than the disappointment of unanswered prayers. Because even when you say not yet, or not this, you are never saying not loved. You are never saying not loved. Your timing is not a punishment. Your process is not a rejection. Your silence is not your absence. It is often the space where my faith is shaped the most. And though I don't always understand it, I choose tonight to trust it. Not because I see the full picture, but because I trust the artist. You are painting with colors I wouldn't choose. You are weaving with threads I can't yet see the pattern of. But you are building something eternal, and eternity doesn't rush. It unfolds, like sunrise, like healing, like love. So I let you unfold me, slowly, gently, without forcing open what still needs time, without demanding answers for wounds still in process. I let you be the gardener, and I become the soil, soft, surrendered, willing to be watered by unseen rain, willing to wait for seeds I can't yet name to bloom. And in the waiting, you stay. That alone is a miracle, that you, the Holy One, choose to dwell in my dust, to remain when others leave, to delight in me not once I'm strong, but even now, when I'm still learning how to breathe without bracing. You are not impatient with my becoming. You are not discouraged by my slowness. You speak life into what feels late. You call forth beauty from what feels barren. And somehow, you love me into resurrection. So I rise, not with answers, but with peace, not with certainty, but with confidence in your character. Because your nature does not shift with my circumstances, it remains steady, faithful, true, even now, even here, even in this breath where I don't feel holy, where I still carry ache, where I still tremble. Even here, you are holy, and your holiness doesn't intimidate me. It invites me. It draws me close. It cleanses without condemning. It purifies without punishing. It burns away shame, but never my dignity, because in your fire, I am refined, not rejected. So I step into your presence fully, without masks, without pretending, without bargaining. I bring you my truth, and in exchange, you give me yourself. There is no better trade, no safer place, no sweeter voice than yours in the silence. So I stay, and I listen, and I rest, because tonight, this is enough. You are enough. You remain the calm in every storm, the hand I didn't see holding mine when I thought I was walking alone. You watched over me in nights I wept in silence, in rooms where no one heard my prayers, yet you were already moving. You were already writing redemption before I even knew I needed it. This is the love that humbles me, not loud, not showy, but constant, faithful, unwavering. You do not need to shout to be heard. You do not force your way into my world. You wait softly, patiently, kindly. You wait for my honesty more than my strength. You wait for surrender, not performance. You wait for me to stop running, to stop pretending, to stop managing pain like a burden I must carry alone. And when I stop, you are already there, closer than before, never far, never silent, just waiting for me to breathe again. So tonight, I breathe for the first time in what feels like days, not shallow, anxious breaths, but full, surrendered ones. Each inhale a reminder, I am alive. Each exhale a confession, I am not God. I cannot fix this all, cannot hold it all, cannot carry the world on my shoulders. But you can, and you already are. You carry what I didn't name. You see what I didn't say. You hold the ache I thought was invisible. You've watched the nights I thought no one noticed, when the weight on my chest was heavier than sleep, and my mind would not be still. And even then, you were whispering peace, not a peace that denies the storm, not a peace that avoids pain, but a peace that walks through the valley with me, never once leaving my side. You are the God who sits in ashes, who weeps at tombs, who walks into locked rooms and breathes peace where fear once ruled. You don't wait for me to come out. You come in. You enter the room of my heart, not as a visitor, but as the one who already belongs. You do not need an invitation, but you still wait for one. And I give it freely now, not out of duty, but out of desperation, out of longing, out of hope. Come into the places I locked long ago. Come into the memories I buried beneath distraction. Come into the grief I tried to forget. Come into the rooms I marked too late, too broken, too much. You are not intimidated by any of it. You are not overwhelmed. You are not in a hurry to leave. You move at the pace of healing, at the rhythm of love, at the breath of heaven. And so I slow down. I slow down long enough to remember I was never meant to outrun grace. I was made to walk with it, to be led beside still waters, to be guided by a shepherd who knows the way better than I do. Lead me, Lord, not just in my plans, but in my pain. Lead me in the places I don't want to go, the vulnerable places, the surrendered places, the ones that require trust deeper than logic, because that is where you do your work, in the open spaces, in the soft soil, in the unguarded heart. So here I am, no walls, no masks, no rehearsed prayers, just presence, just a heart that's ready to be held, Just a soul that's tired of pretending it doesn't need comfort. Just a child that wants to crawl back into the arms of her father and stay there a while. Hold me, Lord, not just spiritually, but emotionally, physically, entirely. Let me feel the weight of your arms around me. Let me feel the security that says, I've got you. I'm not leaving. I see you. Because that is the voice my soul longs for. That is the voice my body remembers, from long before the chaos taught me to flinch. Your voice doesn't startle. It settles. It doesn't demand. It invites. It doesn't manipulate. It reassures. You are the safest voice I know. So I listen again, not for commands, but for comfort. And I hear it. In the stillness. In the space between thoughts. In the sacred hush that wraps around my breathing, I hear you say, you are mine. You have always been mine. There has never been a moment when I looked away. Never a second when I stopped loving you. Not when you doubted. Not when you drifted. Not when you closed your heart out of fear. I hear you say, you don't have to strive tonight. You don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to rehearse apologies or explain your tears. I understand what words cannot express. I know your sorrow. I've carried your pain. I've walked your path before you did. And I'm walking it with you now. And somehow those words undo every knot in my chest. Every unspoken fear loosens its grip. Every disappointment that hardened me begins to soften. Every lie that said I was too much or not enough, loses its volume in the presence of truth. Your truth is simple, but it heals deeply. It is not laced with pressure. It is soaked in presence, and that presence wraps around me now like a blanket in a world that felt too cold. I do not need to know what comes next. I do not need to predict the path ahead, because you are not asking me to understand. You are asking me to trust, to lean, to abide, and I want to, not because it's easy, but because there's nowhere safer than your arms. So I rest now, truly rest, not just closing my eyes, but letting go of outcomes, letting go of deadlines, letting go of false control, letting go of my need to be okay all the time. And in that letting go, I fall into something stronger than me, something ancient and eternal, and unshakable. I fall into you. You never let go, even when I loosened my grip. Even when my prayers became sighs and my hope dimmed to embers. You never flinched at my doubt, never recoiled at my questions, never withheld affection when I stopped reaching. You are steadfast, not because I am faithful, but because you are. You pursue without pressure, love without condition, remain without reason, simply because you are love itself. I have tried so hard to earn what was always mine. I have exhausted myself, trying to be worthy of belonging when you already called me beloved. And now I sit here, weary from all the running I never needed to do. I lay it down, the performance, the fear of being too much or too little, the striving to be perfect enough for peace. I lay it all down at your feet. And I finally hear the truth that was never far. You love me right here, right now, no fixing required. You are not waiting on me to change before you draw near. You are the change. You are the one who makes dry bones breathe, who turns mourning into movement, ashes into beauty, and silence into songs. So I let you sing over me now. I do not need to sing back, I just need to listen. To let your melody melt the walls I forgot I built. To let your rhythm reset my heartbeat from panic to peace. To let your voice wash over the noise that's followed me for too long. The noise of what I didn't get right. The noise of comparisons that make me shrink. The noise of shame that whispers I should be further along by now. Let it fall silent now, Lord. Let it be hushed by the sound of your nearness, because near is who you are. Not sometimes, not only when I've read enough scripture or wept long enough in worship, but always, consistently, deliberately. You choose to be near, and your nearness isn't cold, it isn't distant or quiet out of indifference. It is quiet because you are kind, because you do not barge in, you wait. You wait for me to exhale. You wait for me to whisper, I'm tired. You wait for me to notice you've already drawn close. And now, I do. Now in this quiet room, beneath this roof, with nothing but the hum of stillness around me, I feel you. I don't just believe it with my mind. I feel it in my bones, in the way my shoulders soften, in the way my breath deepens, in the way my heart slows its desperate beating and begins to trust again. You are not a theory. You are not an idea. You are not a lesson to study or a rule to obey. You are a presence, a pulse that lives in every moment I thought I was alone. And you are here, now fully aware of every thought I've had today, and still you stay. What kind of love is this, that doesn't pull away when I'm weak, that doesn't withdraw when I fall silent, that doesn't ask me to be more than I am, but meets me in exactly who I am? It's the love I've always needed, the kind that rebuilds me, not by force, but by presence, not by rules, but by relationship, not with a list of demands, but with an open hand. So I take that hand tonight again, even if I've let it go before, even if my grip is still shaking. I take it because I know it leads me where I need to go, because I know it won't pull away if I stumble, because I know it has scars that speak of how far you went just to hold mine. You did not stay in heaven. You entered this world, and you entered my world, again and again. You stepped into my sorrow. You stepped into my failure. You stepped into my silence, and you made it sacred. So even my silence now feels holy, not because I filled it with the right words, but because you filled it with yourself. You filled it with a peace that asks for nothing but presence. You filled it with love that looks me in the eye and says, I'm not going anywhere. Let that love be my rest. Let it wrap around my weary soul, like a blanket pulled up to my chin. Let it hush the panic that I must solve everything before I sleep. Let it whisper to every unfinished piece of my day, you are not the one holding it all together. I am. And you are. You are holding it, all of it. The questions I still have, the outcomes I cannot control, the people I love who are hurting, the fears I haven't even voiced. You are holding it all, and somehow you're still holding me too. There is no scarcity in you, no limit to how much of you I get to receive, no cap on how deeply I can rest in you. So I rest now, not in results, but in relationship, not in solutions, but in surrender. I don't have to feel brave to be safe. I don't have to feel strong to be carried. I don't have to feel full of faith to be loved. You meet me where I am, not where I pretend to be, and you love me as I am, not as I plan to be. So I stop planning, just for tonight. I stop organizing my grief. I stop packaging my praise. I stop trying to edit my prayers so they sound more like poetry and less like the broken honesty that you welcome. Here I am, open, unfiltered, still, and you still here, still loving, still whispering peace over my soul. This is enough. I did not know that healing could be so quiet, that transformation could happen not through thunder, but through stillness. You came not to overwhelm me with power, but to sit beside me with gentleness. You saw me before the masks, before the wounds, and still chose to stay. You never rushed my return. You never demanded explanation. You never withheld love while I sorted through confusion. You simply remained. That is the miracle I keep waking up into. You're remaining. Because everything else in life has taught me that people leave, that love is conditional, that affection must be earned. But you do not mirror the patterns of man. You are not swayed by my inconsistency. You do not flinch at my brokenness. You do not demand strength before offering safety. You give first. You love first. You stay first. And when I finally look up, you are already nearer than pain, nearer than fear, nearer than the breath I hold when I'm unsure how to pray. You wrap yourself around my silence and make it holy. You sit with me not to fix me but to know me again and again and again. Not because you forget, but because you delight in remembering. You remember my voice before it was shaped by worry. You remember my heart before it was scarred by disappointment. You remember the days I was still full of wonder, the ones I barely recall when joy came easy and trust wasn't questioned. And you call me back to that child, not to erase the journey, but to remind me who I was before I forgot, before I hardened, before I hurried, before I believed I had to manage everything myself. You call me back to the garden, to the cool of the day, where you walked not with demands, but with delight. You have always walked slowly, always paused for the ones the world passed by, always stopped for the bleeding, for the weeping, for the reaching. And I reach now not with eloquence, but with empty hands, because I've found the fullness lives in the reaching, not in what I bring. So I bring myself, simple, still, tired maybe, but real, and you smile at me with no trace of disappointment. Only joy, only love, only presence. There are no expectations in your gaze, only invitation. To rest, to be held, to stop performing, to let my tears fall without shame, to let my shoulders sink into a posture I forgot was allowed, that of one who is carried, that of one who is loved without condition. This is not a temporary refuge. This is not a fleeting comfort. This is home, not a location, not a moment, but a person. You are my home, Lord. You always have been. Even when I wandered, even when I tried to find belonging in lesser places, even when I forgot what it meant to be known, you remained. And tonight, that is enough. No answers needed, no clarity required. Just you, just this moment, just the holy hush that says, I am with you always, always, in the ache, in the confusion, in the waiting that stretches longer than I imagined. You are not pacing. You are not worrying. You are not overwhelmed by time. You are here, unmoved, unshaken, still good, still faithful. And somehow that begins to make me brave. Not loud bravery, not public courage, but the kind that exhales in the dark and says, even here, I trust you, even with unanswered prayers, even with the grief I didn't expect, even with the path I wouldn't have chosen. I trust you, because you are not a stranger to suffering. You are the God who bleeds, who stays in the garden of sorrow, who walks toward the cross, not away from it. You are the God who does not avoid pain. You redeem it. So I trust you with mine, not to erase it, but to transform it, to weave it into something holy, to speak into it, until what once hurt becomes a place where healing grows. And I've seen you do it before, with wounds I thought would never stop aching, with memories I thought would always sting. You came in, and you rewrote them, not by pretending they didn't exist, but by entering them with mercy. Enter again tonight. Enter the spaces I've kept locked, the regrets I've hung on the walls of my soul, The prayers I stopped praying because I didn't like the silence. Come in, not as a judge, but as a friend, not to inspect, but to restore. Make this holy ground, not because it's perfect, but because you are here, and where you are, nothing remains unchanged. Not because you demand transformation, but because you are transformation. You are life, where death once lingered. You are peace, where chaos once reigned. You are light that no darkness can extinguish. So let that light fall on me, even if just a flicker, even if just enough to take one more step. That is enough. I don't need the full map, just the lamp for my feet, just the whisper that says, this is the way, walk in it, and I will. One breath at a time, one moment at a time, one yes at a time, because I trust the one leading. I trust the heart behind the hands. I trust the voice that has never lied, and even when I feel lost, you have never lost me. You know where I am. You know what I carry. You know what I need before I find the words to ask. So I don't force the words tonight. I just rest in the knowing, in the comfort of being known, of being seen, of being chosen again, not in spite of my mess, but in the middle of it. You are not disappointed in me. You are delighted to be near. That is the miracle. That is the gift. That is the gospel I needed to hear again. And I hear it now, not with my ears, but with my soul. I let it sink deeper than fear, deeper than shame, deeper than striving, and I let it anchor me until all I feel is this one truth. You are here, and I am held. You do not tire of me even when I tire of myself. You do not withdraw when I bring you the same grief again. You meet me with the same compassion, the same welcome, the same steady love. You are not disappointed by my weakness. You are drawn to it, not because you enjoy my pain, but because you delight in being the one who holds me through it. You are not waiting for me to be stronger. You are waiting for me to remember you are enough. Enough for the questions I can't answer. Enough for the weight I cannot carry. Enough for the nights I lie awake, feeling the ache of everything that hasn't healed yet. You are not hurried by my process. You are patient. You are kind, and your kindness is never condescending. It is restoring. You do not measure me against a standard of progress. You do not tally up the days I doubted. You do not roll your eyes at my fragile faith. Instead, you whisper to me as you did to the storm, "Peace, be still." And my soul listens. My soul, which often flinches at every shadow, begins to trust the light again. Because you are the light, not a distant sun, but the lamp beside my bed. The flame that never goes out, the fire that warms, but never scorches. You are gentle. You always have been. Even when I imagined you as harsh, even when I projected my wounds onto your face, still you stayed. Still you waited. Still you called me beloved. And now I believe it. Not because the world affirmed me, but because you never stopped. Even when I doubted my value, you reminded me I was chosen. Even when I counted myself out, you counted me in. Even when I shrank back in fear, you moved forward in love. I don't have to pretend anymore. Not with you, not in this stillness. I don't have to tidy up my thoughts or dress my wounds in better language. You already see it all, and still you say, "Come." Not with credentials, not with answers, just come. And I do. I come as I am, bruised, tired, soft-spoken from too many battles. I come because there is nowhere else I'd rather be than in the arms of the one who loves me with no expiration. Your love doesn't wear out. It doesn't fade with familiarity. It doesn't grow bored or distracted. It remains strong, steady, like an anchor that holds when every other rope has snapped. You hold me, not tightly, but securely. You do not crush. You comfort. You do not demand. You dwell. And in your dwelling, I remember how to breathe, not just with my lungs, but with my whole being. I breathe in grace and exhale shame. I breathe in rest and exhale fear. I breathe in the truth that I am not forgotten, and I exhale the lie that I am alone. Because I am not. I never was. Even when I thought you were silent, you were singing over me. Even when I couldn't hear, you never stopped speaking. Even when I stopped asking, you kept knocking. And now the door is open, wide open. Not just to a room, but to your heart, to your promises, to your presence. And I walk in, not as a stranger, but as a child returning home. Home is not far away. It is here, in this breath, in this surrender, in this quiet moment, where all the striving stops, and all the pretending ends. Here, I simply am, and that is enough for you. You don't require me to impress you. You invite me to be held, and I let you, finally, without resisting, without explaining. I lean into you like the child I used to be, the one who knew she was safe, who didn't question the arms that caught her, the one who trusted without calculation. You are teaching me how to be that child again, not by forgetting pain, but by remembering truth. The truth that you are still good, that you are still near, that nothing I've walked through has disqualified me from being loved, that none of my detours have led me out of your reach. You know the long way home, and you walk it with me, even when I'm slow, even when I stop and sit on the side of the road, even when I cry and say I don't know the way anymore. You do. You always do. And you never leave me to find it alone. So I rest my head now, not in exhaustion, but in assurance. Assurance that you are still leading, still guiding, still shaping all things, even these quiet nights of prayer, into something holy, into something whole. You are not finished. With me, with the story, with the dreams I gave up on, with the healing I assumed would never come. You are still writing, still unfolding beauty from the very places I thought had only held loss. And so I let you. I stop interrupting with my need to understand. I stop bargaining. I stop bracing. I surrender the pen and trust the author. Not because I've seen the ending, but because I trust the one who's telling the story. And you are good. Still. Even here. Even now. Even in the quiet where nothing seems to be changing. You are here. And that is all I need to know. You never asked me to have all the answers. You only asked me to trust you. You only asked me to stay close. You never said I had to be fearless to be faithful. You only said I had to come, and I do, again and again. Not with confidence in myself, but with confidence in you, because your mercy has always been the place where I learn how to breathe again. You are not looking for perfection. You are looking for presence, and presence is something I can give, even when I feel broken, even when I don't know what to pray, even when the words won't form, and all I have are tears. You understand them all. You read them like letters. You gather them like treasure. You write them into your book as if they were the most sacred poetry. You do not despise my weakness. You make room for it. You make beauty out of it. You let it become the place where glory lives. Because your power is not embarrassed by my lack. It's revealed through it. You do not shame the wounded. You kneel beside them. You do not pass by the hurting. You dwell with them. And so, I do not hide mine tonight. I do not cover the bruises in my heart. I do not pretend to be brave. I sit with you exactly as I am, because you love exactly who I am. Not the polished version, not the filtered one, but the real me, the one you've known since before breath entered my lungs. You saw me before I could lift my own head. You formed me in secret places. You watched over me in the darkness of the womb. And you are still watching over me now in the darkness of this night. Darkness does not scare you. It does not confuse you. It does not conceal me from your sight. You see clearly, even here, even now. And what you see, you love. You see the memories that still ache. You see the dreams that feel buried. You see the fears that steal my rest. And you do not look away. You draw closer. You surround me. You cover me like a blanket woven in heaven. Your peace wraps around me. It tucks in all the places that felt exposed. It calms the shaking. It quiets the spinning. It soothes what the world stirred up. And I receive it. Fully. Freely. Finally. No more earning. No more running. Just receiving, because that is what your love has always been. A gift, not a reward. A homecoming, not a performance review. I don't need to get it all together to come home. Home is where I fall apart and still belong. Home is where I am known and still wanted. Home is where I am safe, even when I don't feel strong. And you are my home, Lord. Always, in every season, in every failure, in every step forward and every step back, you remain. You don't get tired of starting over with me. You don't keep score. You don't remind me of how often I've fallen. You remind me of how many times you've lifted me. You remind me of how grace still flows, of how mercy still finds me, of how love still covers what I thought disqualified me. You are the shepherd who leaves the 99, the healer who touches lepers without flinching, the savior who kneels to wash feet that will walk away. You are not shocked by my mess. You step into it, you transform it, and somehow you transform me too. Not by command, but by kindness. Not by pressure, but by patience. Not by fear, but by faithfulness. So I let myself be transformed again, here, in the dark, here, in the quiet, here, where the world isn't watching, and the only voice I hear is yours. You are still speaking, still calling me deeper, still reminding me who I really am. I am not what I lost. I am not what I feared. I am not what others labeled me. I am yours, named by heaven, held by eternity, written into a story greater than my own. And that story is not over, not even close. You are still writing redemption. You are still orchestrating goodness. You are still weaving beauty from threads I thought were useless. You are still planting joy in soil I thought could never grow again. And so I believe again, not blindly, but with hope, not foolishly, but with trust, not because I see everything, but because I see you. And when I see you, I remember what's real. You are real. Your love is real. Your presence is real. Your promises are real. And they hold me, even now, even as I lie here with tears still fresh, even as I wonder what tomorrow holds, even as I wait for clarity I may not get tonight. You hold me, and that is enough. I do not need certainty. I need you, and I have you always, fully, without delay, without conditions. So I let go of every lie that says I'm forgotten. I let go of every thought that says I'm too much. I let go of every burden that tells me I'm alone. Because I am not. I am known. I am carried. I am loved. And I will sleep tonight. Not because all my problems are solved, but because my soul is safe. My heart is held. My mind is at rest in you. You are the God who never slumbers, the watcher of my soul, the defender of my peace, the singer of my name. So sing over me now as I close my eyes, Let your voice be the last sound I hear. Let your love be the rhythm that carries me into sleep. Let your arms be the place where I wake again, tomorrow, and every day after. You are the God who meets me where I am, not where I pretend to be. You sit with me in the middle of my questions, not needing me to have it all figured out. You are not moved by perfection, but by presence. You are drawn to honesty, to the raw edges of my soul that I try to hide from the world. And you do not shame them, you sanctify them. You do not avoid the mess, you transform it. You do not ask me to come cleaned up. You ask me to come just as I am, tired, bruised, worried, distracted, still healing, still hoping, still learning how to rest without guilt. And even in that, you call me beloved. Not someday, not when I finally get it right, but now, here, this very moment, you whisper that I belong, that I'm not too late, not too far, not too lost. You pull me close without asking for explanations. You draw near without waiting for me to explain myself. You simply love me, and I feel it, not as an idea, not as a concept, but as a presence, warm, quiet, constant. You are the stillness after the storm, the peace that settles in slowly like morning light through a window. I didn't earn this peace. I didn't chase it. It came to me because you came to me. You always come to me, even when I don't know how to ask, even when I don't know what to pray, even when I forget how to be still. You still come. You come into the middle of my restless thoughts. You come into the ache I try to numb. You come into the doubts I carry like shadows, and you do not push them away. You enter them. You redeem them. Your love does not fear darkness. Your light does not shrink back. You step into every corner of my life and fill it with glory, not the kind that demands applause, but the kind that quietly resurrects, the kind that heals the wounded places, the kind that speaks gently to my soul and says, "You are safe now." Safe. That word holds so much weight, so much longing. To be safe in a world that moves too far, to be safe in a body that carries too much, to be safe in a heart that has learned to flinch. And yet with you I am. Not because everything makes sense, not because every fear has left, but because your love is greater than the weight I carry. You hold me, and somehow the burden grows lighter. You speak to me, and somehow the panic grows quieter. You just stay, and somehow that changes everything. I don't need to understand it. I don't need to dissect it. I just receive it. Receive you. Like water to dry ground. Like sunlight on closed eyes. Like hope in a heart that almost forgot how to believe. Because you remind me, not with loud voices, but with quiet repetition, that I am not forgotten, that I am not forsaken, that I am not too much. You remind me who I was before the world told me to prove my worth, before I measured my value by my performance, before I carried the lie that I had to be perfect to be loved. You return me to truth. You return me to peace. You return me to you. And in you, I return to myself. I find the version of me that is not trying to impress, the one that doesn't hustle to be chosen, the one that is already chosen, already loved, already held. And so I breathe again, not shallow, anxious breath, but full, steady breath. Breath that says I am not in danger, breath that says I am not in control, and that's okay, because the one who is in control is good, is kind, is here. You are here, not watching from a distance, not waiting for me to reach a better version of myself. You are with me, in this moment, this hour, this night. You are not in a hurry. You are not impatient. You are not waiting for a better time. Now is holy to you. This very breath is holy ground. And so I take off the sandals of my striving. I lay down the garments of my performance. I sit with you, bare and unashamed, like the child you still see in me, and I let you love me. That small word feels bigger than it seems, because it means I stop resisting, stop deflecting, stop trying to earn, and simply let you be who you are. My God, my Savior, my Father, my friend, you have never stopped being any of those things, even when I forgot, even when I wandered, even when I questioned. You remained. You remained in the silence. You remained in the chaos. You remained in the disappointment. You remained when others walked away. And you remain now. And I remain with you, not because I'm strong, but because you are. Not because I have it together, but because you hold me together. You hold every piece, even the ones I dropped in fear, even the ones I buried in shame, even the ones I thought were lost forever. You gather it all, and you do not scold. You do not say too late. You do not say should have known better. You say come. You say let me hold that. You say I've never stopped loving you. And that is enough. More than enough. That is what carries me. That is what soothes me. That is what steadies me tonight. Not answers, not certainty, not closure, but presence. Yours, here, always. There is a place in your heart where I am not just welcome, but wanted. Not just forgiven, but embraced. Not just tolerated, but treasured. And it is from that place of holy welcome that I begin to believe again. Believe that love this pure exists. Believe that peace this deep is not a dream. Believe that you really are as good as you say you are, because you have never lied to me. Not once. Not when I was lost in my own fear. Not when I walked away in silence. Not when I doubted your presence in the middle of storms that felt too heavy for me to carry alone. Even when I drifted, you remained faithful. Even when I turned my back, you stayed facing me, arms open. Not with anger, but with compassion. You are not waiting to punish me. You are waiting to restore me. And so I sit with that truth now, not needing to rush through it, not needing to shrink away from its weight. It is heavy, yes, but not like a burden. It is heavy like glory. Heavy like the fullness of love that has no end. And in that weight, I feel secure. I feel covered. I feel like I do not have to explain myself to be loved by you. You already know every detail, every flaw, every thought I haven't spoken aloud. You know the fears that keep me up at night, the ones I hide even from myself. You know the memories I've buried. You know the dreams I let die in silence, and still, you sit here with me, unafraid of the dark places, completely willing to stay through the night. You are not rushing me. You never do. You are not tapping your foot or checking a clock. You are not pushing me forward before I am ready. You are patient, so deeply patient, the kind of patient that could only come from eternal love. And it is that patience that undoes me. Not sternness, not fear, not shame. It is kindness that makes me melt. Kindness that whispers, you are safe now. Kindness that makes me feel like I can lay it all down. Every heavy thought, every unspoken sorrow, every weight I was never meant to carry. I do not have to carry it into tomorrow. I do not have to wake up with it still wrapped around my heart. I can hand it over to you now, and I do. I hand it to the one who has never dropped me, the one who knows exactly what to do with my tears, the one who does not just dry my eyes, but holds the reason for the weeping. You do not call my pain dramatic. You do not call my struggles small. You name them, you honor them, you see the cost. And you say, I paid it too. You remind me that you are no stranger to sorrow, that the man of sorrows is also the King of glory, that the wounds on your hands are not just symbols, they are real. and they are the proof that you go where pain lives, and bring light there. You don't skip over the suffering, you walk through it with us, holding us up when our legs give out, lifting our faces when shame tries to make us bow our heads. I will not bow to shame tonight. I will not make myself small in the presence of the one who made me with care, who knit me together with intentionality, who called me good before the world ever had a say. You never asked me to prove my worth. You already established it, before I ever succeeded, before I ever failed, before I ever formed a sentence to speak your name. You had already spoken mine, and you have never stopped. You call me by name, not like the world does to assign identity, but to remind me who I really am, who I have always been, beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the hardened parts of me that tried to grow around the wounds. I don't have to hide anymore, not from you. You already saw it all, and instead of recoiling, you came closer. You entered in, you wrapped yourself in human skin and bone and sorrow, and said, I know what it feels like. You touched what others were afraid to touch. You healed what others gave up on. You believed in those who no longer believed in themselves, and you are doing that for me right now. You are speaking over me words I didn't even know I needed to hear. Words like, you're not too late. Words like, you're not too broken. Words like, I'm still here. And you are still here, through every closed door, through every disappointment, through every betrayal, through every sleepless night, through every anxious morning, through every unknown. You never walked away. I may not have felt you in every moment, but you were there, carrying, whispering, holding, waiting, not with frustration, but with tenderness. You never left the room, even when I turned off the light, even when I pushed you away in pain. You waited, you stayed, you loved, and now I love you back, not because I feel like I should, not because I am trying to earn anything, but because love is what overflows naturally. When I feel this seen, this safe, this held, I can't help but love you. I can't help but worship, not with loud songs, but with surrendered silence, with trust, with stillness, with breathing in and out and knowing you're in the air that fills my lungs. You are here, you are here, you are here. And that is the miracle, that I don't have to ascend, I don't have to climb, I don't have to strive to meet you somewhere up high. You came down, you drew near, you entered the dust, the ache, the ordinary, and you made it holy. You made me holy. Not because of what I've done, but because of who you are in me. You dwell here, in this fragile frame, in this beating heart, in this breaking place that keeps finding healing again and again. You live in me, and you are not disappointed in your dwelling place. You are not disgusted by my process. You are not surprised by my humanity. You chose it. So I choose you, again and again, with trembling hands and a quiet soul. I say yes to you, not with the pressure to never fail again, but with the peace that even if I do, you are still the same. You are still good, still near, still enough, and I will never be alone. You did not choose me because I was impressive. You chose me because you are love. You did not save me because I earned it. You saved me because mercy is who you are. You did not wait for me to have it all together. You came when I was lost, and you stayed even when I pushed you away. You did not flinch at my pain. You met me in it, sat beside me, and wept with me. You stayed when others left. You carried me when I could not stand, and you whispered hope over me even when I had no words left to pray. This is the God I am learning to trust, not distant, not cold, not waiting for me to reach some invisible standard, but close, gentle, steady, with arms always open and eyes always soft. You are not quick to anger. You are not hard to please. You do not hide when I am struggling. You draw near. You sit with me in the mess. You don't fix me first, then love me. You love me, and that love slowly mends what's broken. And in that love I feel no pressure to perform, no demand to be anything other than what I am. A child, a soul in need, a heart open and willing to receive what it has long craved, a place to rest, not just physically, not just mentally, but deep, soul-level rest. The kind that doesn't come from sleep, but from knowing I am safe. I am held. I am home. You are my home, Lord. Not a place I visit occasionally, not a refuge I run to when I've exhausted my own strength, but a dwelling where I belong, a presence I am never turned away from, a love that does not run out with the sunrise. You are my home. When the world feels foreign, you are my anchor when everything else feels adrift. You are my unchanging center in a life that keeps shifting. And so I return, not with fanfare, not with a grand gesture, but quietly, gently, like a child slipping into her father's arms at the end of a long day. I don't need to explain the tears. I don't need to justify the weariness. I don't need to prove anything. I just come, and you receive me, every time, without hesitation, without keeping score. You delight in my return, not because you need me to complete you, but because you love me with a fullness that cannot be diminished, and in your love, I begin to love myself again. Not the version I tried to manufacture, not the image I worked so hard to maintain, but the me you created, the me you smile over, the me you knew before I ever had a name, the me you've never once given up on. You have never said, "That's enough." You have never looked at me with disappointment. Even in the worst moments, your voice was never condemning. It was calling me back to love, calling me back to peace, calling me back to you. And I am here now, no longer resisting, no longer hiding behind excuses or shame. I am here, and I offer you everything, not because it's clean, but because it's real. Because I've learned that you want my reality, not my perfection. You want my heart, not my performance. So here it is, every broken piece, every bruised hope, every fragile dream I don't know what to do with. I place it all at your feet, not because I'm done caring, but because I know you care even more. And you are better at holding things than I am. You are the God who holds all things together, and still chooses to hold me gently. You are not careless. You are not forgetful. You are not overwhelmed by what overwhelms me. You are the calm within the storm. You are the hand that reaches under the water. You are the breath in my lungs when I've forgotten how to breathe. And when the world feels loud, you become the silence that restores me. You do not compete for my attention. You wait for it. And when I finally look up, you're already there, not demanding, but inviting. Come, you say, and I do, not because I feel brave, but because you've made it safe. You've made the journey home simple. Not easy, but simple. Walk toward love, and keep walking, no matter how slow, no matter how uncertain, no matter how many times I've gotten lost along the way. And now that I'm here, I do not want to rush. I do not want to rush this sacred moment of being known and still embraced, of being weak and still welcomed, of being unsure and still trusted with peace. You trust me with peace. That still surprises me. But you do. You don't withhold it until I'm more consistent. You don't hold it out like a reward for good behavior. You pour it out because I'm yours, because peace is part of my inheritance, because rest is part of the promise. So, I take it, not reluctantly, not guiltily. I take it fully, boldly, because I finally believe it's mine. Not because of who I am, but because of who you are. And you are good. Still, even after all this time, even through all the nights when I wondered, even through all the days when I doubted, even when I couldn't trace you, you were still working, still holding, still loving. You never needed my certainty to stay close. You never needed my clarity to be kind. You just needed me to be honest, to be open, to be willing to let you in. And I am. I opened the door wide. I let the walls down. I stop trying to make the pain pretty. I let you see the raw and the real. And I find, once again, you are not afraid of what you find. You are the God who stays, the God who heals, the God who knows and loves and holds and carries. And tonight, you carry me. You are not finished with me, and I cling to that truth, not as a vague hope, but as a living promise, etched into every moment. You have brought me. You are the God of completion, the one who begins good works, not for show, but for transformation, the one who stays until every shattered piece is shaped into something beautiful, something eternal, something redeemed. You never start and abandon. You never lose interest halfway. You do not grow tired of me when my progress feels slow. You are not frustrated by the detours. You walk them with me. You are still guiding, even when I don't see the path. You are still building, even when I can't recognize the form. You are still loving me into wholeness, even when I feel broken. You are not asking me to understand it all. You are asking me to trust. And trust is not loud. It is not always confident. Sometimes trust is as quiet as breathing, as small as whispering your name, as simple as not walking away. And I am still here, still turning toward you, still laying it all at your feet, even when I have to do it with trembling hands, even when it feels like I'm offering the same prayer again. You do not get bored of hearing my voice. You do not tire of seeing me come back. You rejoice in it. You celebrate the return. Even when the steps are slow and hesitant, you meet them with open arms. I do not need to impress you with my faith. I just need to bring it, however small, however fragile, however uncertain. Because even mustard seed faith is enough in your hand. Even my smallest yes matters to you. Even my unsure hallelujah is music in your ears. You do not compare my worship to others. You see the heart. And tonight, this heart is wide open. Not perfect, not polished, but open. And you come in, gently, lovingly, without force, without demand, just presence, just peace, just love. And I let you in again, not just into the rooms I've cleaned up, not just into the dreams I'm proud of, but into the corners that feel unfinished, into the fears I can't explain, into the memories that still carry weight. I open every door, I pull back every curtain. I say, come in, Lord, even here, and you do, without flinching, without judgment, with hands full of healing and a heart full of compassion. You do not rush to fix me. You sit with me. You listen. You remind me I am not a project. I am a person, a child, a soul crafted in the image of glory. You see beauty in my becoming. You see potential in my pauses. You see purpose even in my pain. You see a story you are not finished writing, and you smile at how it will unfold, not because it will be perfect, but because it will be redeemed. You specialize in redemption, in taking what looked like ruin and making it radiant, in taking the ashes and exchanging them for beauty, in speaking life over what others declared dead, in resurrecting joy in the most unlikely places. And I believe you will do that in me again. You already have, in more ways than I can count. Every time I thought I wouldn't make it, I did. Every time I thought I had nothing left, you gave me more. Every time I said, this is the end, you whispered, this is a beginning. You do not write tragedies without hope. You do not leave endings untended. You finish what you start. And you started something in me long before I knew how to name it. A longing, a calling, a light that flickered in the night. You placed it in me not to tease me with what I could never become, but to lead me toward who I already am in you. Not someday, now. Even in the middle of the journey, You are not ashamed to walk with me through the middle, through the unfinished, through the waiting, through the parts of the story where everything still feels unclear. You are the God of the middle, just as much as the beginning and the end. You are not only present at the finish line, you are the one beside me, every step of the way. You are not holding back love until I arrive. You are pouring it out now, fully, freely, faithfully, and I receive it. I soak in it. I let it wash over every tired place, over every fear that whispered I wasn't enough, over every lie that said I had to do more to be loved. I let your love undo what shame built. I let your truth silence what fear screamed. I let your nearness become my refuge, my anchor, my assurance, because you are near, not as a visitor, but as a dwelling presence. You have made your home in me. You are not looking for another place to live. You chose this soul, this life, this heart, and you are not leaving. Not in my weakness, not in my sorrow, not when I struggle to believe again. You are faithful, not because I am, but because you are, always, steady, secure. And so I rest, not because everything is fixed, but because I am held, not because I see the future, but because I trust the one who does, not because the night is over, but because the light is here, with me, even in the dark. And this light does not flicker, it does not fade, it does not depend on circumstance. It simply is constant, present, kind. You are the light, Lord. You are the comfort. You are the voice that tells me I am not forgotten, the presence that proves I am never alone, the promise that reminds me I am still becoming, and you delight in the becoming, not because you enjoy watching me struggle, but because you love seeing me grow, because you are growing me with care, gently, intentionally, with more compassion than I've ever known. And I am learning to let go, not in despair, but in surrender, to let go of the need to control, to let go of the stories I've written in fear, to let go of the pressure to be perfect, and to trust the God who is perfect in love. You don't need me to be flawless, you just ask me to be faithful, and even when my faith feels like a flicker, you call it enough. So I bring it to you, my flicker, my hallelujah that trembles, my yes that is quiet but real, my trust that still asks questions, but chooses to stay. I bring it all, and I lay it down not as a loss, but as an offering, and you receive it like treasure, you lift it like incense, you honor it like the gift it is, because you see the heart, you know the cost, you know what it took to open my hands again, and you meet me there with blessing, with comfort, with joy. You give joy, even here, not loud, forced joy, but quiet, rooted joy, joy that doesn't deny pain but coexists with it, joy that says, even in this, I am loved, even in this, I am not alone, even in this, God is good, and that joy carries me. That joy reminds me why I keep coming back. That joy gives me strength to hope again, to believe again, to try again, because I know now I'm not alone in the trying. You are trying with me, hoping with me, believing in me. Even when I don't believe in myself, you are cheering me on with more tenderness than I could ever earn, and you are not in a rush for me to get there. You are enjoying the journey, simply because we are on it together. So I breathe again, deep, slow, peaceful. I let your nearness quiet my questions. I let your love steady my pulse. I let your promise be enough for tonight. You are enough, still, always, now. You never needed me to be loud, to be loved. You never required me to be strong, to be secure in you. Even in silence, even in weakness, even in stillness, you are present. You are powerful. You are peace. And in this moment I remember again that you are not asking for more noise or more striving. You are simply asking for me, not a polished version, not the one who has it all figured out, not the one with a spotless prayer life or perfect faith, just me, the real me, the weary, wondering, one who still comes because I know where home is. And home, to me, is not a place on a map. It is not a feeling I have to chase. It is you. It has always been you. The one who calls me in from the storm. The one who lights a fire and says, "Sit a while, let me be with you." You are not in a rush to fix me. You are not overwhelmed by what I carry. You simply see me and stay. And that staying changes everything. Because the longer you stay, the more I begin to believe that I am not as alone as I thought. That I am not forgotten. That I am not invisible. You see me. Not as the world sees. Not by titles or failures or timelines. You see the core, the child inside still learning how to trust. You see the hunger for love, the ache for belonging, the fragile parts that pretend to be tougher than they are, and you love every bit. You do not divide me into worthy and unworthy pieces. You gather it all, the full truth of me, and hold it like treasure. You whisper, "This is the one I love," and I believe you. Even if the voice of shame still whispers, even if fear still lurks in the background, even if doubt knocks on the door, your voice is louder, not in volume, but in weight. Your voice carries the authority of eternity. Your voice sounds like home, and when you speak, everything else quiets. My anxious thoughts settle. My heart rate slows. My breathing deepens. I am reminded again that I am not the keeper of my peace. You are. And you do not sleep. You watch over me in the night. You guard my heart while I rest. You sing over me songs of truth, songs of love, songs that remind my soul of who I really am. Not a problem to be solved, not a disappointment to be avoided, but a beloved to be held, a soul you delight in, a person worth pursuing, and you have pursued me. Not once, not twice, but endlessly, in the quiet hours, in the crowded rooms, in the solitude, in the sorrow. You have come after me again and again, not with force, but with faithfulness, because that is who you are, not just present, but persistent, not just near, but invested. You are not indifferent to my pain. You are not unmoved by my tears. You are the God who weeps with me, who kneels beside me, who walks into the dark places and does not flinch. You bring light, not by ignoring the darkness, but by entering it with fire in your eyes and healing in your hands. You sit with me until the fear fades. You speak truth until the lies unravel. You remain until I can stand again, and even then, you do not let go. I do not know why you love so deeply. I only know that you do, and it is changing me. Not all at once, not overnight, but layer by layer, day by day. Your love is patient with my progress. It celebrates the small steps. It honors the hard days. It never compares. It never condemns. It simply walks with me, and that walk is holy. Every step, a whisper of your grace. Every breath, a gift of your kindness. Every sunrise, a fresh reminder that mercy still wakes up with me. I have learned not to fear the slowness, not to fear the pauses, not to fear the quiet places where transformation often begins, because in those places I meet you most intimately, not in the noise of accomplishment, but in the hush of surrender. And surrender, I am learning, is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the brave letting go of what I was never meant to carry. It is the trust fall into the arms of the one who has never dropped me. It is the soft answer to fear that says, I am not in charge. And that is good news. You are in charge, and you are good. Those two truths have become my anchors. They hold me when my mind races. They comfort me when the unknown looms large. They wrap around me like a blanket on a cold night, and I rest in them. I rest in you, not because I've earned it, not because I've arrived, but because you said, come to me all who are weary, and I will give you rest. And I believe you. I take you at your word. I curl into the promise and I exhale. Tonight, I release again the fears I tried to solve, the burdens I tried to fix, the identities I tried to uphold. I lay them down, not because I'm giving up, but because I'm giving in to love, to grace, to the gentle hands that hold everything better than I ever could. You are not asking me to be the savior of my own life. You already are, and you are doing a far better job than I ever could. So I yield, not reluctantly, not bitterly, but with trust, with hope, with the quiet belief that letting go will make room for something better, something deep, something real. You are not finished writing my story, and even this moment, this quiet, sacred pause is part of it. It matters, it is holy, because you are here. And you are always here, whether I feel it or not, whether I understand it or not, whether I remember it or not. You are not dependent on my perception. You are steadfast, immovable, eternally close, and in that closeness, I begin to bloom, slowly, softly, like a flower waking to morning light. You don't rush the process, you don't pull on the petals, you simply shine, and I open again. You are not waiting for a better version of me. You are not withholding love until I prove myself. You are not scanning my heart for perfection before you draw near. You already came close. You already chose me. You already wrapped yourself in human pain so I would never have to suffer alone. You walked roads I will never fully understand, just to make sure I'd never feel abandoned in mine. You entered the darkness not to escape it, but to defeat it. And now the very places I once feared have become doorways for your glory to enter. You are not a God who is distant in crisis. You do not sit far off when tears come. You are not above compassion. You are compassion. You are moved by what moves me. You see what burdens my soul, and instead of walking away, you step closer. And when you come close, you don't ask for an explanation. You don't demand a reason for my exhaustion. You simply say, I'm here. And that is enough. That is always enough. Because the truth is, I don't always know how to fix what's broken. I don't always know what healing looks like. Sometimes I've sat in silence, not because I've stopped believing, but because I don't have the words to match the ache. And even there, you remain, not confused by my silence, not offended by my stillness. You speak in ways that go beyond language. Your presence becomes the comfort I didn't know I needed. And slowly, I learn how to breathe again, how to rest again, how to hope again. You don't force hope on me, you invite me into it. You remind me that it's not about pretending things are easy, it's about knowing I'm not alone in the heart. It's not about fixing everything today, it's about trusting that you are working in the waiting, and you are, even when I cannot see, even when the doors stay shut, even when the prayers go unanswered. You are still God, still good, still moving. You are not silent because you don't care. You are quiet because sometimes healing begins in the hush. Sometimes the answer I long for comes wrapped in stillness. And even then, you are speaking, through the sunrise, through the quiet strength that shows up when I should have collapsed, through the grace that meets me before I even ask, through the unexpected peace that makes no sense. That's how you speak. And I'm learning to listen, not for volume, but for presence. And you are present, right now, in this breath, in this very room, in this heart that beats not just with blood, but with longing, longing to be known, longing to be safe, longing to believe that love like yours really does exist. And it does, because you are here, because you never left, because you always knew I would need you, and you made a way long before I knew how to ask. I used to think I had to earn this, that I had to climb my way into your favor, that holiness was a goal to be reached rather than a gift to be received. But you are undoing that. You are rewriting that script in my soul. You are telling me I belong because you said so, because love always makes room, because grace is not something I achieve, it's something I live in. And in this grace, I find the courage to let go of the guilt that has weighed me down, of the shame that has chased my thoughts, of the fear that has tried to define my future. I let go, because I'm safe here, because your arms are not made of judgment, but of mercy, because your heart is not easily angered, but endlessly kind, because you are not disappointed in me for struggling. You are proud of me for staying, for still coming back, for still choosing you. Even with tears in my eyes, you never asked for perfection, you asked for honesty, and I am honest now. I am tired, I am fragile, I am human, and you call that holy. You do not despise my humanity. You entered into it, you embraced it, you bled for it, and now, I do not have to hide the parts of me that still need healing. I bring them to you without fear, without shame, knowing you will not turn me away. You never have, not once, in every dark season, in every moment of failure, in every doubt and every cry. You have been the steady hand that held me, the whisper that reminded me I was still loved, the peace that came in the middle of the panic, the light that kept glowing even when everything else went dark. You are the miracle I wake up into every day, the breath I take without noticing, the grace I receive without asking, the joy that finds me, even when the tears are fresh. You are not a distant deity. You are my Father, my friend, my shepherd, my home, my healer, my light, my song. And you are not finished. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in the way my heart still hopes, in the way I still get up, in the way I still return. You are still writing, still shaping, still forming beauty out of the dust. You do not waste a single tear. Not one ache goes unnoticed. Not one prayer is unheard. You gather them all. You hold them close. You weave them into something eternal. So I stay here tonight. Not in a rush to move on, not needing to check a box, not trying to force a feeling. I stay because love this real is worth lingering in. I stay because the safest place I've ever known is right here, with you. I stay because I'm not the same person I was when I first came to you. You've changed me, quietly, deeply, forever. And I know there is more, not because I lack, but because you overflow, because your goodness is not scarce, because your mercy does not run out at midnight, because your love is still pouring, still pursuing, still healing. I don't have to beg for what you're already eager to give. I just have to receive it. So I do. I open my heart wide. I stretch out my hands. I say yes to the peace you offer. I say yes to the joy that's coming. I say yes to the future you are preparing. I say yes to the slow, sacred work you are doing in me. I say yes to you again, and again, and again. You are worthy of that yes, not just on the good days, not just when the blessings are obvious, but here, in the quiet, in the in-between, in the middle of the questions. You are worthy, still, always, forever. And I am yours, still, always, forever. You have never asked me to be strong alone. You never once said I had to figure it all out before you would hold me. You never required answers. You only asked for presence. Mine to you, yours to me, eternal and unshakable. You are not moved by the performance, but by the posture of surrender, and you meet me every time I bend low in need. You are the God of the quiet bend, of the heart bowed low, of the soul stretched wide in longing. You see it all and still you come, still you stay, still you love. You are not repelled by my wounds. You are drawn to them with healing in your hands and patience in your eyes. You are not in a hurry to get through the mess. I often am, but you are not. You step into it. You kneel in the dust with me. You let the silence settle before you speak, not because you do not know what to say, but because you honor the ache before you answer. You are gentle with grief. You do not try to erase it with hollow promises. You enter it with power cloaked in tenderness. And when I sit here, feeling small in a world that expects so much, you remind me that my worth is not in what I do, but in who I am to you. I am yours. I always have been. Before I knew my name, you had already spoken it. Before I took my first breath, you were singing over me. Before the world tried to define me, you had already declared, beloved, chosen, held. That identity does not shift with my failures. It does not dissolve when my strength does. It holds firm because it rests in you, and you do not change. I find such rest in that constancy. In a world that never seems to slow down, you are not rushed. You are not behind schedule. You are not flustered by delay. You are the keeper of time and the redeemer of every lost minute. Nothing is wasted with you, not the waiting, not the wandering, not the weariness. You gather it all and make it holy. You take what was meant to destroy me and turn it into something that develops me. You do not stop the storm every time, but you do anchor me within it. You do not promise ease, but you promise endurance, and you keep your promises. Tonight I do not come to ask for clarity, though my heart still longs to understand. I come to ask for closeness, because closeness is always the answer. Clarity might bring temporary peace, but closeness brings eternal security. I would rather sit in silence with you than have answers without you, because you are not a means to peace. You are peace, not a distant ideal, but a living presence. You do not simply offer rest. You are the stillness when my mind races, the softness when the world feels harsh, the shelter when my soul grows tired. And I am tired, Lord, not just in body but in spirit, weary from the striving, worn from the stretching, empty in places I didn't even know could run dry. But here in this quiet moment, I realize I have not been forgotten. I have not been abandoned. I have not been overlooked. I am known, seen, loved, even here, especially here, because you do not turn away from need. You lean in, you draw near, you bind up the broken pieces without judgment. You do not demand I hurry toward wholeness. You simply hold me as I heal, and healing is slow, but it is. I feel it in the tiny shifts, in the way my breathing settles when I remember your name, in the way my heart opens even when it's scared, in the way I find myself coming back to you over and over again, because something in me knows you're the only one who won't leave when I do, and you never have, never once. You watched me walk away, and you still waited. You saw me hide, and you came searching. You witnessed the rebellion in my heart, and you met it with mercy. You heard every word of despair I whispered in the dark, and you did not answer with anger. You answered with presence, with grace, with the kind of love that holds without needing explanation. You are not waiting for a polished offering. You want the real one, the messy one, the honest one, the heart that says, I don't have much, but I give you what I, and you say, that's all I ever wanted. You multiply what I thought was small. You bless what I thought was broken. You breathe life into the parts I thought were dead. You do resurrection work in quiet places. And this place of surrender, this quiet middle, this sacred stillness, this is holy ground, because you are here, not because I prayed a perfect prayer, not because I finally got things right, but because you are always near the contrite, always drawn to the lowly. You exalt what the world ignores. You embrace what others avoid. You anoint what looks ordinary. You never needed me to be spectacular. You never needed a performance. You just wanted the real me, the me you created, the me you delighted in before anyone ever labeled me. And I return to that version tonight, the version that only you fully know, only you fully see, only you fully love. And I let you love me there, in the quiet places where no applause echoes, in the secret struggles no one else sees, in the sighs I cannot explain, in the questions that sit unanswered. You love me there. You do not flinch. You do not back away. You draw closer, and I feel it, not always in lighting and fire, but in the slow, steady warmth of your peace, the kind that doesn't just sit beside me but sinks deep within me. You know how to be still with me. You know how to wait with me. You know how to hold me when I can't even hold myself. And tonight, That is enough. That is more than enough. You have never once withheld yourself from me. Even when I withheld parts of my heart from you, even when I tried to run, even when I filled my days with noise to avoid the quiet invitation of your voice, you stayed, you waited, you watched, and when I turned again, you were already reaching, already loving, already near. There was no hesitation in you, no reproach in your eyes, only welcome, only embrace, only joy at the one you never stopped calling home. And now here I am, again, because I've learned that there is no place else that brings peace like this, no one else who offers love like this, no silence more sacred than the one where I remember you are here, still, always, unchanging, gentle. You are not put off by how often I need reassurance. You do not grow weary of my returning. You do not roll your eyes when I say, Lord, I'm here again. You smile. You open the door. You prepare the table. You remind me there's always room for me. Because this relationship was never built on my consistency. It was built on yours. My love may flicker, but yours burns steady. My faith may rise and fall like the tide, but your promises remain anchored. My heart may be a storm at times, but your peace is the horizon that never shifts. You knew I would need more than my own strength. That's why you gave me yourself, not as a concept, but as a constant, not as an idea, but as a presence. You did not offer rules to follow, but a hand to hold, and you have never let go. There were days I thought you had, days when pain clouded my vision, days when disappointment closed in, days when I questioned if you still cared. But even then, especially then, you were working. You were weaving the very strands of sorrow into something beautiful. You were planting seeds in the soil of suffering, and now I see what's begun to bloom: hope, depth, compassion, things that cannot be bought or borrowed, things that only grow in places where you have been. You walk into rooms I don't want to enter. The painful memories, the unanswered questions, the parts of my story I still struggle to accept. You walk into those places not to condemn but to redeem. You are not afraid of the dark. You are the light, and your light doesn't just expose, it heals, it softens, it makes space for growth. You do not come with accusations, you come with oil and balm. You do not shame, you restore, so I let you in, again, deeper this time, past the outer layers, past the polished versions of me. I let you into the real me, the weary me, the restless me, the honest me, and I find, once again, you are not disappointed, you are delighted, not because I am perfect, but because I am present. And you love presence more than performance. You always have. You are not calculating what I owe you. You are not measuring my worth by my usefulness. You are not looking at my scars as liabilities. You are tracing them like artwork. You are reading my story like poetry. You are reminding me that everything I thought disqualified me has become the very thing that invites me into deeper union with you. Nothing is wasted here. Not the pain, not the pauses, not the pieces that still don't make sense. And so, I breathe again, not because the storm is gone, but because I've learned to find stillness in the middle of it. You taught me that. You didn't take the storm away, but you taught me how to walk on the waves. You didn't remove every question, but you taught me how to worship in the one. You didn't erase my past, but you showed me how to see it with grace. You've been my guide when I was lost, my comfort when I was crushed, my anchor when I was drifting. You have never once let me fall too far. Even in my worst moments, I was still held. Even in my lowest points, I was still beloved. Even in the silence, you are still speaking. You are not confined to the loud places. You do your best work in the quiet, in the small yes, in the trembling faith, in the half-whispered prayer that dares to believe. Maybe God still loves me. I know you do. I know it now more than ever, because it's not just something I've heard. It's something I've lived. Love that rescues, love that rebuilds, love that never leaves, love that sits beside me in the night and says, I'm not going anywhere. That's the kind of love that changes a person. That's the kind of love that undoes shame, dismantles fear, destroys lies. That's the kind of love you give. And I am learning how to receive it, not earn it, not perform for it, simply receive, like a gift, like rain, like sunlight warming my skin. I don't have to force it. I don't have to be worthy of it. I just have to open my hands, and when I do, you fill them, not with things, but with yourself. And you are the greatest gift I've ever known. You are not tired of teaching me this, not frustrated that I keep forgetting. You are patient with the process. You celebrate the small steps. You dance over every return. You weep with every wound. You rejoice in every healed place. You are the most attentive soul I've ever encountered. You miss nothing. You overlook no detail. You care about what I care about, because you care about me, and you are here, not just in theory, not just in some vague spiritual sense. You are tangibly, undeniably here, in the stillness, in the sacredness, in the quiet hours when the rest of the world sleeps, and it's just you. And these moments are holy, these spaces are hallowed, because you inhabit them with joy, and you call them beautiful. So I stay, not because I have to, but because I want to. Because where else could I go that compares to, where else could I bring my whole self, and be fully seen, fully known, and still fully loved? Only here, only with you. And I don't want to rush this. I don't want to miss a single second of what you're doing in my soul. You are speaking, gently, clearly, not with shouts but with whispers, not with demands, but with invitations. And I'm listening, I'm responding, I'm saying yes to the slow, sacred work of transformation. I'm saying yes to the journey, even when I don't know the destination. I'm saying yes to the intimacy that comes, not in the mountaintops, but in the mundane moments of everyday faithfulness, because I know now this is where you dwell, in the quiet, in the faithful, in the soft yes, in the broken hallelujah, in the night prayer whispered with tears, in the steady presence that refuses to walk away. You are here, you are love, and you are mine. You never needed me to arrive at perfection to offer your affection. You never waited for the right words to speak your grace. You did not hold back peace until I had proven myself holy. You gave it freely because you are the giver, and because you love. You do not ration mercy based on merit. You pour it out, day after day, night after night, and still you do not run dry. You are abundance in a world of scarcity. You are enough when everything else feels like too little, or too late, or too hard. You meet me here not in some future version of me, not in some imagined sanctified self I haven't become yet, but here, in this very breath, in this very moment. And your presence does not hesitate. Your love does not flinch. Your compassion does not depend on how well I understand it. You are the same yesterday, today, and forever. And still, somehow, you make every encounter with you feel brand new. You are always writing new beginnings. Even when I feel I've reached an end, you whisper the word again. You invite me to start again, not as punishment for not getting it right the first time, but as grace that keeps unfolding, keeps blooming, keeps rising like the dawn. And I begin to see that this life with you is not about reaching one final summit of faith, but about walking 100,000 small paths with you, paths where I fall and rise and fall and rise and keep choosing you again. And you keep choosing me, not reluctantly, not with condition, but with joy, with delight, with the kind of unwavering commitment that no one else has ever offered me. You don't get tired of my slow progress. You don't sigh at my repetition. You don't roll your eyes when I cry over the same thing. You welcome it all. You welcome me all over again. I don't have to hide my weakness. I don't have to pretend that I'm not still learning how to let go. I don't have to wear masks in your presence. I only have to come. You always meet me with open arms, and in those arms I find not only safety but strength, not only comfort but courage, not only healing but hope. You are not just a resting place, you are a refuge and a river, a dwelling and a deliverer, a sanctuary and a song, and you invite me into all of it, not as a guest, but as a child, as someone who belongs. And the more I sit with that truth, the more the noise of the world begins to fade. I don't have to be loud to be heard by you. I don't have to be bold to be loved. I don't have to be certain to be secure. I just have to be with you, and I am. I am, with my hands open, with my heart unguarded, with my soul hungry for something that only you can give, and you give it. You always do, not in the way the world gives, not with strings attached or expectations hidden, but freely, fully, with joy. You delight to give good gifts to your children, and tonight I remember again that I am yours, not by force, but by grace, not by performance, but by love, not by status, but by mercy. You call me your own, and when I hear you speak that over me, everything else begins to lose its power. The fear, the shame, the doubt, the lies I've believed, they begin to loosen their grip, not because I fight them perfectly, but because I finally see the light of truth shining brighter, and that light is you. You are the light that no darkness can overcome. You are the truth that no lie can silence. You are the life that no death can destroy. I don't always know what lies ahead, but I know you are already there, and that is enough. You go before me, you walk beside me, you hem me in behind and before, you surround me on all sides. There is no path you have not walked, no sorrow you have not felt, no struggle you cannot redeem, no part of me that is beyond your healing. And so I surrender again, not out of defeat, but out of devotion, not because I'm done trying, but because I know trying isn't the point. Trust is the soil where faith grows. Trust is the lens that changes how I see. Trust is the whisper that says, even here, even now, God is with me, and you are. You are not just the God of the mountaintops. You are the God of the valleys, the God of the midnight hour, the God of the desert season, the God of the waiting room, the God of the breaking and the mending. You are not afraid to walk into hard places. You are not distant in pain. You are closer than breath, nearer than thought, more constant than the beating of my heart. You do not drift when I do. You do not waver when I doubt. You do not falter when I fall. You hold fast. You hold firm. You hold me, and I am safe in you. I am safe to be small, safe to not have all the answers, safe to ask questions, safe to cry, safe to be still, safe to be seen. Because being seen by you is never a threat. It's a promise, a reminder that nothing about me scares you away. You already knew, you already chose, and you still do. You choose me when I'm quiet. You choose me when I'm loud. You choose me when I'm hopeful. You choose me when I'm afraid. You choose me when I'm full of praise. You choose me when I have nothing left but a whisper. And you don't choose a future version of me. You choose me now. And that now is holy. This moment is sacred, not because I have earned it, but because you are in it. You make everything you touch holy. You make broken things beautiful. You make wounded things whole. You make lost things found. You make dead things live. You make all things new. And so I wait in that sacred stillness. I don't rush it. I don't resist it. I just remain. I remain in your love. I remain in your presence. I remain in the truth that you are not done with me, that even in this, you are working, that even here, you are good, that even now you are enough. And I rest, not just physically, but deeply. Soul rest, heart rest, rest that doesn't depend on circumstance, rest that doesn't require explanation, rest that settles into the marrow of who I am and says, this is where I belong, this is who I am, this is whose I am. I belong to the one who never lets go. I belong to the one who knows every thought and loves me anyway. I belong to the one who writes redemption into every page. I belong to you forever. You are not watching me from a distance, waiting for me to climb some ladder of worthiness. You are here. You are always here. Not because I earned you, but because you chose to be near. You chose to stay. You chose to love. And you do not change your mind. You are not the kind of love that retreats when I stumble. You are not the kind of comfort that disappears when the pain gets loud. You are not a temporary presence. You are the eternal one, who holds all things, including me, together with grace that never fails and a faithfulness that cannot be shaken. And I need that tonight, not a concept of you, not an idea, not a story I've heard once told, but you, the real you, the Jesus who wept, the shepherd who leaves the 99, the friend who sits with the broken-hearted, the Savior who chose the cross, not out of obligation, but out of overflowing mercy. I need the you who walks slowly with those who hurt, the you who listens long to those who ache, the you who stays with the one who thinks they've failed too many times to be found again. You are not waiting for me to fix everything. You are not pacing, arms crossed, wondering when I'll finally get it right. You are not measuring how many times I've come to you with the same prayer. You are the God who sees every repetition as another sign of trust. You are the God who counts each returning as a victory of grace. You are the God who celebrates the fact that I haven't given up, even when it would have been easier to walk away. And so, I stay. I keep showing up, because every time I do, you remind me that I never had to impress you. I just had to trust you. And trusting you doesn't mean I always understand. It means I choose to believe that even when I don't, you do. It means I believe you are good, even when the night feels long. It means I keep lifting my eyes to where my help comes from. Not because I'm strong, but because I know where my strength lives. It lives in you. It always has. Every breath of endurance, every ounce of resilience, every flicker of hope, I trace it back to you. You are not just the beginning of my story. You are the strength in every chapter. You are the stillness that holds me steady. You are the author, the companion, the promise, and the fulfillment. There is no part of my life you do not touch, no part of my past you cannot redeem, no part of my future you are not already preparing. So I lay it all down again, not out of defeat, but out of trust. I lay down my striving. I lay down my proving. I lay down the weight I was never meant to carry, and in its place I take up not a fragile piece that shatters with one wrong step, but the unshakable peace that you secured with your blood. The kind that holds when everything else breaks. The kind that says, even here, even now, I am not alone. You are with me, and you are not passive in your nearness. You are working. You are healing. You are whispering things into my soul that I can't always hear with my ears, but I feel them, in the quiet, in the warmth, in the moments where I suddenly breathe a little easier, without knowing why. That's you. You are the invisible strength holding me up, the quiet joy that slips into sadness, the holy comfort that makes no sense to the world, but feels like home to my soul. You don't always answer with a change of circumstances. Sometimes you answer with a change in me. Sometimes the miracle is not that the mountain moves, but that my feet find strength to climb. Sometimes the miracle is not that the storm stops, but that I find shelter in the middle of it. And sometimes the miracle is simply that I'm still here, still choosing faith, still choosing to speak with you when silence would be easier, still choosing to believe that love like yours does not let go. And it doesn't. You don't. You hold fast. You hold fiercely. You hold kindly, and your holding has changed me more than anything else ever could. It has softened places in me that were once hardened by disappointment. It has melted fears that once felt permanent. It has opened doors in my heart I didn't know were closed. And now the light gets in. Slowly, gently, but surely, I begin to see with new eyes, not eyes shaped by pain, but eyes shaped by grace. Not eyes weighed down by the past, but eyes lifted by hope. Not eyes that expect to be let down, but eyes that expect to see goodness. Because you are good. You've always been good. And every step with you confirms that goodness again, even when things don't go the way I wanted. Even when prayers are answered with a weight. Even when dreams are placed on altars. You are still good. Because your presence is better than any outcome. Because your nearness is the treasure. And I am learning how to treasure it. How to treasure you. How to value being with you more than being right. More than being understood. More than being in control. I don't have to understand everything to trust you. I don't have to have all the answers to feel peace. I just have to stay with you. I just have to let you lead. And you do. Without force. Without pressure. Without guilt. You lead with kindness. You lead with patience. You lead with gentleness that heals and wisdom that sees far beyond what I can. So tonight, I rest, not because the work is done, but because you are God and I am not. I rest because you are watching over everything I can't control. I rest because you care more deeply than I ever could. I rest because I believe you are already in tomorrow, preparing good things I don't yet see. I rest because you are my shepherd, and I lack nothing in you. And I begin to see that rest is not a weakness. It is a weapon. A holy declaration that I am not enslaved to fear, to hurry, to worry, to striving. It is a quiet but powerful rebellion against the voice that says I must keep performing. It is my soul leaning back into the truth that I am loved, not for what I do, but for who I am. And who I am is yours. I am not alone. I am not forgotten. I am not behind. I am not too late. I am not too much. I am not too broken. I am not beyond hope. I am held. I am chosen. I am seen. I am cherished. I am beloved. I am being made new. And you are not done. You are still writing, still mending, still redeeming, still singing over me songs I have yet to hear. And I will listen. I will keep listening. I will keep coming back to this sacred place, because you meet me here not with condemnation but with compassion, not with demands but with delight, not with cold silence, but with warm embrace. You meet me, and that's all I've ever really needed. You are not limited by my limitations. You are not confined by the edges of my understanding. You are not discouraged by the slow pace of my growth. You see the end from the beginning, and you are faithful through every uncertain middle. You are not in a rush to complete me, because you're not afraid of the in-between. You walk beside me through every step of becoming, and you do not grow weary. You do not fold your arms when I stumble. You extend them. You do not shame the pace of my healing. You bless it. You do not silence my fears with rebuke. You soften them with kindness. And I need that kindness. I need the gentleness you bring when the world feels hard, when the voices around me are sharp, when even the ones within me sound cold. I need the way you lean in, not to scold but to soothe, the way you look at the mess I am and still see beauty being born, the way you speak with a voice that knows all of me and still calls me beloved, the way you stay. Always, you stay. I have tried to outrun shame before. I have tried to silence doubt by pretending it didn't exist. I have tried to perform peace instead of truly knowing it. But none of that brings healing. Only you do. Only you can look into the hollow places and fill them with real life. Only you can touch what is raw and bring calm. Only you can speak a single word and shift the entire atmosphere inside of me. And you speak, not always in thunder, but often in the quietest whisper, in the stillness of my surrender, in the space I make when I stop running, in the breath between thoughts, where I find you waiting. You do not force your voice upon me. You wait until I want it. You wait until I need it. And I do. I need it now. I need you now. You do not turn your back on need. You do not flinch at longing. You do not despise weakness. You dwell with it. You step into it. You wrap yourself in it. You do not ask me to rise to meet you. You came down to be with me. And not just once, long ago. You come still, again and again, to the broken, to the bruised, to the barely holding on. You make your home with us, and I do not have to beg for your attention. You are already here. You are not looking for eloquence. You are looking for honesty. You are not measuring my faith by how loud I pray, but by how open I am to you. You are not waiting for me to impress you. You are waiting for me to invite you. And I invite you now, not into the tidy parts of me, but into the real ones, the uncertain ones, the aching ones, the hopeful ones, the ones still learning how to trust. You do not need perfection. You never did. You are not calling me to perform holiness. You are calling me to walk with you, to abide, to stay close, to keep choosing you, not once but daily, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. And you walk with me at a pace that matches grace, not hurried, not frantic, but steady, gentle, peaceful. Peace, that is what you bring, not the peace of this world, that is fleeting and dependent on circumstances. You bring a deeper peace, a kind that wraps around the chaos and says, even this cannot steal me from you. A peace that remains when answers don't come. A peace that stays when dreams are delayed. A peace that settles me when I want to run. A peace that reminds me, you are enough. And you are, even when I don't feel it, even when the emotion fades, even when the sky grows dark. You are still light. You are still good. You are still near. You are still God. My God, not just the God of yesterday's breakthrough or tomorrow's hope, but the God of this moment, right now, right here. You are present, and I am present too. I let go of the distractions, of the striving, of the swirling questions. I let it all fall to the side, so I can sit with you, so I can breathe again, so I can remember what's always been true, that I am yours and you are mine, that nothing I've done can undo that, that nothing ahead can change that, that no fear can drown that out, that no lie can rewrite it. You have written your name over my life in mercy. You have sealed my soul with love. You have claimed me, not as property but as child, as friend, as beloved. And you do not unclaim what you have redeemed. You do not walk away from what you have paid for. You do not disown what you have called your own. You stay. You always. I've wandered, and still you stayed. I've questioned, and still you stayed. I've grown cold at times, and still you stayed. There has never been a moment when you looked at me and said, too far, too much, too broken. You only ever say come. You only ever say rest. You only ever say I know, I see, I'm here. And what more could I need? What else could I want? You are the answer to every unspoken prayer. You are the fulfillment of every aching longing. You are the companion I didn't know I needed until I felt your presence in the quiet. Until I realized that it wasn't the storm that had to change, It was my awareness of you in the midst of it. You change everything, not always by fixing it, but by filling it, by filling the space where fear used to live, by filling the gap where loneliness echoed, by filling the silence with your gentle, holy nearness. And in that filling, I find what I thought I had lost. Joy. Not loud joy, not fleeting joy, but a soft, settled joy that sits in my bones and says, I am safe, I am known, I am loved. You have not changed. You never do, but you are always changing me. Quietly, deeply, patiently. You are rewiring the way I think. You are replanting the way I hope. You are restoring the way I love. You are doing in me what I could never do alone. And you are doing it with a tenderness that makes me cry, because no one else has ever loved me like this. No one else has ever stayed like this. No one else has ever given without asking for something in return. You give because you are love. You give because you are good. You give because you are good. You give because you delight in giving. And you are giving even now, not because I asked perfectly, not because I earned it, but because you want to, because it brings you joy, because this moment, this connection, this prayer, it matters to you. I matter to you, and that truth, more than any answer, more than any solution, more than any breakthrough, that truth is enough. It is more than enough. It is everything. You never ask me to carry what you have already carried. You never expect me to be what you already are. You do not burden me with shame. You cover me with grace. You are not looking for performance, but for presence, and you find joy every time I turn to you again. Not because I've done something spectacular, but simply because I came, simply because I remembered, simply because I whispered your name in the quiet and believed you would come close, and you always do. You do not meet me halfway. You do not wait for me to reach a threshold of strength. You run. You rush. You wrap me in mercy before I can even explain. You are not the God who demands credentials. You are the God who wraps wounds. You are not the God who tallies failures. You are the one who binds the broken-hearted and does not crush the bruised reed. You are tender in the places I fear most. You speak kindly where I've learned to brace for harshness. You bring rest where I've been taught to strive, and I am learning how to stop striving, learning how to sit, how to breathe, how to simply be loved without condition. It is harder than I thought to release the instinct to earn. But you wait through that too. You wait through my resistance. You wait through my flinching. You wait through the parts of me that still wonder if grace can really be this steady, this gentle, this lasting, and you never tire of reminding me. Yes, it can. Yes, it is. Yes, I am. I am yours, not as a label but as a truth written into every thread of who I am. I do not belong to fear. I do not belong to failure. I do not belong to the ones who walked away. I belong to you. You named me before the world did. You called me beloved before I could speak. You saw me before I knew what I was looking for. And you have not let go. Even when I let go of you, you held on. Even when my prayers dried up, yours for me never ceased. Even when I forgot the sound of peace, you still sang it over me. You are not seasonal. You are not conditional. You are not occasional. You are always. You are steady. You are faithful. You are love in its truest form, never controlling, always compelling. You draw me in with patience. You transform me with kindness. You hold me together when I'm unraveling. You are the calm in my questions. You are the breath in my stillness. You are the reason I've survived storms that once promised to undo me. And even now, you are rebuilding. Even now, you are restoring. Even now, you are writing joy into places I had called barren. Because nothing is beyond your healing. No wound is too deep. No sorrow is too old. No shame is too familiar. You do not hesitate at the broken places. You move toward them. You move into them. You turn them into wells of living water. You take the cracked vessel and make it a sanctuary. And I don't have to hide the cracks anymore. I used to think I had to bring you my best. Now I know you want my real. You want my whole heart, not the polished version, not the rehearsed one, not the parts I think you'll approve of. All of it, the weary, the questioning, the grateful, the quiet, the messy, the reaching. And you do not recoil. You rejoice. You call this closeness. You call this communion. You call this prayer. And here in this prayer, I feel it again, that sacred settling, that slow, steady warmth that reminds me I am not alone in this room, in this breath, in this journey. You are here, not watching from afar, not listening with detachment. You are with me. You are within me. You are closer than the tears I haven't cried yet, closer than the questions I haven't spoken aloud, closer than I've ever dared to believe. And you are not silent. No, you speak. Not always in sentences. Sometimes in stillness. Sometimes in memory. Sometimes in the way a song lingers longer than it should. Sometimes in a line of light cutting through the dark. Sometimes in the peace that makes no sense. Sometimes in the sudden awareness that I am loved. Deeply, presently, eternally. And in that awareness, I exhale. I stop trying to fix myself. I stop rehearsing the things I wish were different. I stop wishing I were further along. I just sit. I just let you love me. I just let myself be held. And in that holding, I begin to heal. Not all at once, not dramatically, but surely, softly, steadily. Because you do not rush this. You do not bypass the process. You honor it. You honor the tears. You honor the steps. You honor the trying. You honor the faith it takes just to open my heart a little wider. You see the unseen battles and call them victory. You see the unseen moments of surrender and call them sacred. You do not measure my journey by public milestone. You measure it by intimacy, by presence, by trust. And trust is growing here, in this quiet, in this prayer, 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 in this space between what was and what is still becoming. Trust that you are good. Trust that you are near. Trust that you are enough. And you are. You are enough when I am not. You are enough when the day was long and my strength ran out. You are enough when nothing changed and still I prayed. You are enough when everything feels uncertain, except this, that you are here, that you are not leaving, that you love me still. You love me in the silence. You love me in the song. You love me in the questions. You love me in the ache. You love me in the joy. You love me when I don't feel it. You love me when I'm not sure what I believe. You love me when I draw close. You love me when I pull away. And always, you call me home. You are the home I didn't know I needed. The rest I didn't know I could find. The answer that quiets every fear, not by explaining, but by embracing. You are not a theory. You are not a metaphor. You are not a feeling. You are a person. You are a presence. You are the Word made flesh, and you came for me. You stayed for me. You died and rose for me. And you have never stopped drawing me near, so I come. Again. Still, always. With less to prove, and more to receive. With hands open. With heart ready. With the kind of surrender that doesn't always feel brave, but is still holy. And you meet me. Always. You meet me. And always. That's enough. You are not afraid of the dark corners of my soul. You are not hesitant when I hesitate. You are not backing away when I draw near with trembling hands. You receive me. You embrace me. You bless the very act of my return, again and again. You do not ask for strength. I do not have. You do not demand a heart fully formed before you touch it. You begin with dust, and you breathe life into it. You begin with brokenness, and you bring beauty out of it. You begin with longing, and you answer it, not always with clarity, but always with closeness. And that closeness is everything. In a world that shouts for distance, that punishes weakness, that celebrates only what is finished and flawless, you are different. You are the God who values presence over polish. You are the Savior who kneels before the weary and washes feet. You are the Shepherd who leaves the 99 for the one who wandered too far. You do not scold the lost. You carry them home. You do not tally failures. You erase them with mercy. You do not watch from the heights. You descend to the depths and lift us into your arms. And tonight I feel those arms. I don't see them with my eyes, but I know their shape. I know their warmth. I know the way they steady me when my thoughts are spinning. I know the way they calm me when my chest tightens. I know the way they make the room feel less empty. I know the way they whisper without words. You are safe now. You are loved now. You are home now. This is what I have been seeking, not an escape from pain, not a solution for every problem, but a place to rest. A place where my soul doesn't have to perform. A place where I can breathe again. A place where I can exhale the fear I've carried too long. And you offer that place, not only in temples and cathedrals, not only on mountaintops or in sacred songs. You offer it in this moment, in this room, in this breath. And so I breathe. I let the tension go. I unclench my fists. I let the masks fall. I stop trying to be impressive. I stop trying to sound holy. I just am. And somehow in that simple being, you draw near, not reluctantly but eagerly. You meet the vulnerable with tenderness. You meet the weary with strength. You meet the uncertain with peace. You meet me right where I am. You do not say, "Come back when you're ready." You say, "I am ready now." You do not say, "Clean up before you come." You say, "Come as you are, and I will do the cleansing." You are not looking for pretense. You are looking for permission. You are not looking for eloquence. You are listening for honesty, and you find it here. Because what else can I bring you but my truth? What else can I lay at your feet but my heart? What else do you want but me? Not just the version that smiles on the outside, but the one who doesn't always know how to hope anymore, the one who's afraid to believe again, the one who needs to be reminded that miracles still happen, that healing still comes, that love like yours really does exist. You remind me, gently, persistently, beautifully. You remind me with every sunrise that chases the night. You remind me with every breath that finds its rhythm again. You remind me with every memory of mercy I never deserved, but still received. You remind me with stories I've heard and stories I've lived. You remind me in whispers, in pauses, in stillness. You remind me in ways no one else can. And in the remembering I begin to believe again. I believe that broken things can be made whole. I believe that scars can be sacred. I believe that delay is not denial. I believe that you are not done, not with me, not with this story, not with this world. You are still moving, still working, still weaving something beautiful out of what I cannot yet understand. I don't have to see it all to trust you. I don't have to feel it all to follow. I don't have to hold it all together. You are holding me, and you do not grow tired. You do not shake loose when I lean too hard. You do not complain when I return again and again with the same prayer, the same question, the same longing. You are patient. You are peace. You are here. And you do not need grand declarations. You do not wait for me to be certain. You receive every whisper of faith, like a treasure. You catch every tear like it matters, because it does, because I do, because you have written my name on your hands, and you never forget it. You do not grow bored of blessing me. You do not ration your compassion. You pour it out again and again, and I soak it in, slowly, quietly, reverently. I let the weight of it sink in, past the surface where my fears live, down into the marrow where truth begins. And the truth is this: I am loved, I am chosen, I am seen, I am not too far gone, I am not too much, I am not too late, I am not forgotten, I am not alone, I am yours, yours in the silence, yours in the sorrow, yours in the joy, yours in the waiting, yours in the wondering, yours in the breakthrough, yours in the breakdown, yours in every moment in between, yours forever, not by accident, not by obligation, by choice, by love, by grace. And because I am yours, I lack nothing, even when it feels like I do, even when what I hoped for hasn't arrived, even when what I prayed for hasn't changed, even when what I long for still feels distant. I still have you, and having you means I have everything, because you are not just the giver of good things. You are the good thing, you are the prize, you are the peace, you are the portion, and in you, I find enough. Enough for this hour, enough for this need, enough for this night, enough for this fragile hope that's still flickering within me. I don't need to have it all together. I just need to stay close. I just need to lean in. I just need to trust that you are not going anywhere. You are here. Still, you are here. Always, you are here. Because that's who you are. The God who stays. You are the one who never leaves, the one who does not measure love in conditions or deadlines. You are not counting my failures against me. You are not holding my past like a record to remind me of what I lack. You have covered it all in mercy, and mercy speaks a better word. Mercy speaks louder than shame, stronger than regret, deeper than fear. Mercy speaks when I cannot. Mercy holds when I fall silent. Mercy surrounds me like a shield and carries me when I cannot walk another step on my own. You do not hesitate when I hesitate. You do not flinch when I fall short. You are not disillusioned by my humanity because you entered into it yourself. You know weakness from the inside. You know hunger. You know grief. You know betrayal. You know the sting of loneliness and the weight of sorrow. And because you know, I do not have to pretend. I do not have to mask the heaviness. I do not have to decorate the ache. I can bring it all to you, raw and real, and you will not turn away. You are not put off by the process. You delight in it. You take joy in the shaping. You do not rush healing. You do not skip steps. You are present in every moment of becoming. Even when I cannot see the progress, you are doing more than I know. Even when I feel stuck, you are moving beneath the surface. Even when I feel forgotten, you are writing chapters I haven't turned the page to yet. And nothing is wasted. No tear, no prayer, no breath, no waiting. All of it is held in your hands, redeemed by your timing, folded into your purpose. And your purpose is always love, not punishment, not pressure, love. Pure, constant, unfailing. You are not trying to get something from me. You are trying to give something to me: peace that remains, hope that anchors, joy that returns again and again. You are not watching to see if I'll earn it. You are pouring it out because you are generous, because you are good, because you are love. And I receive it, slowly, tenderly, open-handed and wide-hearted. I receive it, not because I understand everything, but because I trust the one who does. Not because the path ahead is clear, but because the one who walks with me is faithful. Not because I've earned the right, but because grace has already made the way, and grace never fails. You are the God of grace. You are not a taskmaster. You are not a harsh judge. You are not a distant ruler. You are a father. You are a friend. You are the whisper in the dark. You are the hand that lifts the chin. You are the still voice that reminds me, I see, I know you, I love you. You are not demanding more. You are giving more. More peace, more truth, more nearness, more light. You are the light, and your light does not expose to shame. It reveals to heal. You do not shine truth to condemn. You shine it to call me forward. You shine it to break the lies that have held me hostage. You shine it to show me the way out, and you walk that way with me. You do not point from afar. You walk beside. You go before. You stay behind to cover what I missed. You surround me. You encircle me. You keep me in perfect peace when my mind stays on you. And tonight I choose to stay my mind on you, not on the worries, not on the what-ifs, not on the impossibilities, on you, on your nature, on your promise, on your history of faithfulness. You have never failed. You have never left. You have never changed. And you will not begin now. You are the same yesterday, today, and forever. And forever means this moment too. This moment matters to you, not because it is dramatic or significant in the eyes of the world, but because I am here, because I've turned my gaze to you, because I've quieted the noise, because I've made room, and that is all you've ever asked for. Room to be who you are, room to speak, room to hold, room to heal, room to remind me of what's true, and what's true is that you are enough, for this night, for this need, for this ache, for this hope, for this heart. You are enough when I don't know how to pray. You are enough when my strength runs out. You are enough when I doubt again. You are enough when the world is loud and the answers are few. You are enough because you never run dry. You never grow weary. You never sleep, nor slumber. You never give up on me. You have always been with me. Even in the moments I couldn't see it. Even in the valleys, even in the silence, even in the confusion, you were there, holding, guiding, waiting. You are not limited by my understanding. You are not confined by my timeline. You are not frustrated by my questions. You are near, always near, and I will not fear, because perfect love casts out fear, and you are perfect love. You do not use fear to control. You use love to invite. You do not threaten. You welcome. You do not intimidate. You reassure. You are not distant, cold, or harsh. You are warm. You are close. You are kind. You are everything my heart has longed for, even before I had the words to ask. And now that I've seen you like this, I cannot go back. I cannot pretend that you are just an idea or a doctrine. You are a person. You are the Christ. You are the Lamb. You are the Lion. You are the one who sits with the sinner and washes the feet of the doubter. You are the one who heals without shame and teaches without condemnation. You are the one who stands between me and every accuser and says, let the one without sin cast the first stone, and no one remains but you. You the one who lifts my head. You the one who writes redemption into every chapter. You the one who sees beauty where others see brokenness. You the one who looks at the storm and says, peace, be still, and suddenly, it is, suddenly, I am, still, settled, safe, held. You hold me, not just physically but soul deep. You hold my questions, my fears, my dreams, my doubts, my desires, my every fragmented piece. And you do not let one fall to the ground unnoticed. You gather them, you bless them, you make them holy by your touch. You turn ashes into beauty. You turn mourning into dancing. You turn what was meant for harm into something good. Not always quickly, not always how I would choose, but always faithfully, perfectly, lovingly. And I wait, not anxiously, but hopefully. I wait not for the outcome, but for more of you, because the waiting itself becomes sacred when you are in it. The waiting becomes the altar. The waiting becomes the place where I see you clearer, where I hear you deeper, where I know you truer. And that knowing is the treasure, That nearness is the prize. You are the prize, not the breakthrough, not the blessing, not the fulfilled dream. You are the reward, and you do not withhold yourself. You do not ration grace. You do not hide from the honest heart. You come close. You always come close, and I will keep coming back again and again, to the place where I first met your kindness and found my soul's true home. You do not hide yourself from me. You do not make me search endlessly without reward. You are not a puzzle to be solved or a test to be passed. You are a father who runs toward his child. You are the warmth in the waiting. You are the stillness in the storm. You are not playing games with my heart. You are not distant, cold, or uninterested. You are here, fully here, always here, and I do not have to earn your gaze. I already have it. I do not have to perform for your affection. You gave it before I even knew how to ask. You do not withhold yourself until I am perfect. You are not waiting for me to become worthy. You are the one who makes me worthy, not by my effort, but by your embrace, not by my perfection, but by your presence. And that presence is everything. In the noise, in the fate, in the chaos, in the calm, you remain constant, true, gentle, near. And I don't need grand words to find you. I don't need the perfect prayer or the flawless life. I only need to turn. I only need to breathe. I only need to open the door of my heart, even just a crack, and you come flooding in, like light through the windows of a dark room, like air after long suffocation, like home after wandering. You come, and you stay. You stay when the world walks away. You stay when I have nothing left to give. You stay when all I bring you is silence. You stay when I forget how to hope. You stay when I lose my way. You stay when I forget who I am. You stay, not because you are bound, but because you choose to, because you delight to, because you love to be with me. That kind of love changes everything. It rewrites the story. It restores the broken chapters. It reclaims what was lost. It redeems what was wasted. It rewires my heart to believe again, to soften again, to open again. And in the warmth of that love, I find rest. I stop striving. I stop analyzing. I stop fearing. I simply breathe and believe. You are, and because you are here, I do not have to understand everything. I do not have to predict tomorrow. I do not have to know the outcome. I just have to know you. And I do. I know the way you speak peace in the middle of panic. I know the way you whisper truth when the lies are loud. I know the way you carry burdens I was never meant to bear. I know the way you hold me when I collapse in your arms, and you don't shame me for collapsing. You don't lecture. You don't correct. You hold, you heal. You hush the noise with your nearness. You remind me that I am not a project. I am not a problem. I am not a disappointment. I am your beloved. I am your delight. I am the one you rejoiced over when I was formed in secret. I am the one you've chosen still. Still. After the detours. Still. After the doubts. Still. After the long nights and the louder fears. Still. You choose me. Not grudgingly. Not conditionally. Joyfully. Willingly. Eternally. And that joy is my strength. That choosing is my confidence. That love is my anchor. And when I drift into your mercy. Not away from you, but into the arms that have already made room for my return. You are never surprised by my need. You are never annoyed by my repetition. You are never tired of reminding me who I am, and whose I am. I am yours, not a passing thought, not a temporary guest. not a tolerated soul. I am your child. I am your friend. I am your beloved. I am known. I am held. I am seen. I am safe. And I am not too far. I am not too late. I am not too broken. You speak a better word over my story. You speak hope into dry bones. You speak peace into inner wars. You speak light into the shadows I've tried to hide. You speak love until I believe it. You speak truth until it sinks in. You speak with the authority of heaven and the tenderness of a shepherd. And I listen, not with ears alone, but with the whole of my soul. And what I hear, I receive. What I receive, I treasure. What I treasure, I repeat. And what I repeat becomes my reality. I speak your name. I speak your promise. I speak your love over the lies that once claimed my mind. I speak your peace over the anxiety that has haunted me. I speak your nearness over the places that once echoed with emptiness. I speak because you first spoke. You said, "Let there be," and there was. You said, "Peace, be still," and it obeyed. You said, "It is finished," and the curse was crushed. You speak with power. You speak with life. You speak and I am revived. And now, I speak too, not to earn, not to perform, but to agree. I agree with your heart. I agree with your promise. I agree with the goodness that I cannot always see, but still believe in. I agree with the truth that you are working all things together for my good, even now, even here. Because you do not forget, you do not abandon, you do not start what you do not intend to finish, and you are not finished with me. You are not finished with this story. You are not finished with the healing. You are not finished with the breakthrough. You are not finished with the redemption. Even when I can't see it, you are weaving. Even when I can't feel it, you are moving. Even when I can't trace it, you are present. You are never absent. You are never indifferent. You are never uninvolved. You are in every breath, every blink, every beat of my heart. You are here. You are always here. And that is enough. That is more than enough. That is everything I ever needed, and everything I never dared to ask for. You, not what you can do, not what you might give, just your nearness, your presence, your peace. You are the prize. You are the portion. You are the answer. Before I ask, you are the healing in motion. You are the comfort that does not fade. You are the fire that does not burn out. You are the anchor that holds when nothing else can. You are the joy that returns like the morning. You are the love that never lets go, and I will not let go either, not because I am strong, but because I am held, not because I understand, but because I trust, not because I have all the answers, but because I know the one who does, and I will rest in that. I will sleep in that. I will breathe deep tonight, knowing that you are here, and you are not going anywhere. Amen. You have brought me this far not to abandon me, but to show me that you never fail. You have carried me through valleys, through shadows, through deserts, through silence, and still you are here. You are the end and the beginning, and everything between is wrapped in your grace. You have never once let go of me. Not when I doubted, not when I drifted, not when I wept in places no one else could see. You have held me with hands that never tire, with arms that never waver, with a heart that never changes. And now, as I near the stillness of sleep, I hear you even more clearly. Not because you are louder, but because my soul has become quieter. The noise has faded, the shadows have settled, and your whisper is the only sound that remains. You are not a distant God. You are the God of the night shift, the one who stays awake when I cannot, the one who watches over my soul as I surrender every thought, every memory, every burden into your care. You do not ask me to understand the future. You only ask me to rest in your presence, and so I do. I rest. Not because everything is resolved, but because you are still in control. I rest. Not because I am strong, but because you are. I rest. Not because I have it all figured out, but because you hold it all in your hands. Hands that shaped stars, hands that calmed storm, hands that bore the weight of a cross, hands that now cradle my heart. You never stop loving, you never stop healing, you never stop speaking, and even now, you are speaking peace into my bones. You are speaking hope into tomorrow. You are reminding me that night is not the end. It is the pause between promises. It is the sacred space where seeds are buried to bloom. It is the still hour where your voice grows loudest. It is where I remember, I am not forgotten. I am not forsaken. I am found. Found in you, rooted in you, secure in you, not because of my effort, but because of your embrace, not because of what I've done, but because of who you are. You are faithful when I am faithless. You are patient when I am restless. You are calm when I am anxious. You are enough when I am empty. You are whole when I feel shattered. You are steady when everything else shakes, and you are with me. You are not in a hurry. You do not rush me to healing. You do not pressure me into peace. You unfold it slowly, like dawn over a tired earth, like soft rain over dry ground, like love over a wounded soul, and I receive it, not in fear, but in reverence, not with guilt, but with gratitude, because this is grace, all of this. You, here with me, is grace, and grace is what wakes me in the morning. Grace is what carries me through the day. Grace is what quiets me now. Grace is what keeps calling me back, even when I've wandered. Grace is what never runs out, no matter how many times I come, and I will keep coming, as long as I breathe, as long as I hope, as long as I live. Because life without you is not life at all. Joy without you is shallow. Peace without you is fragile. Hope without you is temporary. But with you, everything is rooted, everything is anchored, everything is real, and the realness of your love undoes me. It melts my walls. It breaks my pride. It awakens the child in me who still dares to believe. And I believe. I believe again. I believe still. I believe you're not finished. I believe you're working. I believe you're good, not just in theory, not just for others, for me, here, now, always. You are good in the silence. You are good in the chaos. You are good in the not yet. You are good in the waiting, and I wait with you. Not alone, never alone. You are my closeness in a world that feels far. You are my softness in a world that grows hard. You are my light when I forget what brightness looks like. You are my home when I am tired of wandering. You are my song when I have no words left. You are my strength when I am too weary to try again. And you do not ask me to prove anything. You only ask me to let you love me. And I let you, fully, honestly, openly. No more hiding, no more pretending, no more pretending that I don't need you every hour. I do. I need you in the big things and the small things, in the decisions and the detours, in the silence and the sorrow, in the joy and the mundane. I need you like breath, like light, like life itself. And you never withhold yourself. You pour, you give, you anoint. You remind me who I am when I forget. You sing over me when I sleep. You guard me when I am unaware. You smile over me when I doubt my worth. You defend me when the voice of the accuser rises, and you do not grow weary of doing so. You are not a God of just enough. You are more than enough. You overflow. You exceed. You surprise. You bless. You take what little I have and turn it into more than I thought possible. And even when the miracle doesn't look like I imagined, your presence becomes the miracle I didn't know I needed. And I cling to that. In every moment of confusion I cling. In every breath of worship I cling. In every hour of waiting I cling, not out of desperation, but out of devotion, because there is no place better than here. With you, no peace greater, no love deeper, no joy fuller, no grace richer. You are the treasure, and I have found it. I have found you, or perhaps more truly, you have found me, in my wandering, in my weeping, in my wondering. You found me, and you stayed, and now I stay too, not because I'm perfect, but because I'm yours, not because I'm strong, but because I'm safe, not because I've arrived, but because I'm held by the one who walks through fire and does not burn, held by the one who commands the waves, and they obey, held by the one who touches lepers, blesses children, feeds thousands, washes feet, forgives enemies, dies for sinners, and rises for love, held by Jesus, the King who kneels, the Lord who listens, the God who stays. And so I rest in the arms of the one who knows me best and loves me still, in the arms of the one who will never leave, never fail, never forget, in the arms of the one who doesn't just promise peace, but is peace. Tonight, I do not worry about tomorrow. I do not rehash yesterday. I dwell here, in this breath, in this peace, in this love, and in this stillness. I know I am